360 TV and Messages of Inspirational Stories proudly presents Vanya Kusick Foundation Leadership and Communication Summit in association with the 6-Minute Webinar and E360 TV. Broadcasting live from E360 TV studios to Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Periscope, Twitch, YouTube Live, and Facebook Live streaming. Be sure and register at the 6minutewebinar.com/communication-summit-2021-registration. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We have the honor. When I say we, I'm talking about the television show Messages of Inspirational Stories has the unique honor of being able to host this wonderful summit, the Leadership and Communication Summit 2021. And today, ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat. This summit is also in association with the 6-Minute Webinar and E360 TV. What an honor it is for all of us to contribute and donate our time and our resources for this wonderful summit. And one of the key people that I'd like to invite to the stage is Dr. Don McGrath. Dr. Don is one of the co-creators of the 6-Minute Webinar. Hey, Dandy Don, as I call him. Welcome to the show, my man.
Hey, Jim, who would think from such humble beginnings as Speaker's Pathway that this is kind of where things would come?
Yeah. And when he says humble, he means humble.
So thanks so much for having me today, Dr. Don McGrath. And Jim and I go way back. And I'm really excited about today. Yesterday's part of the summit was all about leadership and communication for educators. So people who are involved in education. Today is about teams and corporations and companies. So I spent 30 years in Fortune 500 companies being an engineering leader. And so I'm really excited to hear what some of the experts that we've gathered have to say today.
Absolutely. And the other co-creator of the 6-Minute Webinar, oh my goodness gracious. I got to hold up his book. He's the author of the 7 Levels of Truth. I got to make sure I'm getting that in front of the camera good. 7 Levels of Truth. He's also the honorary host on the radio show Your Future's Now on TogiNet Radio with millions of downloads on all of the major podcast platforms. He's fondly known as being the dean of the 6-Minute Webinar. Mr. Bill Heinrich, welcome to the show, my man. I think I clicked him on there. There we go.
Here I am. Wow, I'm so excited to be here. Hi, Jim. Hi, Don. What a great day we're going to have. Yesterday was amazing dealing with educators. There was so many incredible talks given, short, concise talks with great information. So I'm just really excited to be here today and help people with their clarity, which is the specialty of the 6-Minute Webinar. And thanks for appointing me as the dean of the 6-Minute Webinar.
I give those titles. I give those titles out free of charge.
The College of Clarity.
The College of Clarity. There you go.
Hey, that's right. That's right.
Because Clarity University, the 6-Minute Webinar.
There you go. Because that's the one big thing a lot of people struggle with is someone asks you, "What do you do?" And you give them a big, huge, answer, but clarity is what it's all about. They want to know what you can do for them.
And one of the things from yesterday that really struck me, and I shared this on our Facebook group last night. One of the big things that came up yesterday was having the right words at the right time. Right. And really, that's all what the 6-Minute Webinar is all about. And that was such a strong message from yesterday. I'm really looking forward to seeing what percolates out of the messages today.
And the young lady that has the Vanya Kusick Foundation that presenting this summit in association with the 6-Minute Webinar and E360 TV is Vanya Kusick. Good morning, or good evening to you over there in India. Good morning over here. So your mic is muted. There we
Yes.
go. Good morning. How are you? Or good
All good.
evening.
Thank you so much. A very good morning to all of you guys, and thank you. A very good evening to here, all the
Mhm.
audience who are listening to us.
Oh,
How are you?
yes. Oh,
So,
we're
how
getting along fine. We're very excited to be here because
same
today,
here.
ladies and gentlemen, with what I saw yesterday, the value of the speakers, and I know a lot of the speakers today, oh my goodness, with the 6-minute webinar being shared with you, oh goodness, you're in for a treat. That's all I can say.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's. Should I start with again with our introduction?
Sure. Yes, because you're the reason why we're here. Your foundation. My goodness. Yes, please.
Yeah. So here I am, Dr. Bhardraj,
We're
and
getting a
I
little, we're getting a little bit of an echo there. Do you have a speaker? You might want to adjust that a little bit.
no, I didn't attach any of this
Okay,
speaker.
let's mute everybody else's phone. We're getting some feedback there. Okay. Thank you, Donna. Go ahead, please.
So here I am. It's
Whoa.
still there, I think.
Yeah, we get a little bit of an echo there. Just adjust your volume a little bit, hon. Okay.
So should I lower down my volume, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
that
much
might do
That's
it.
fine now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's start. So here I am, Vanya Kaushik Bharadwaj, and I am a founder of Vanya Kaushik Foundation. Vanya Kaushik Foundation actually working for concentrating on water conservation and rainwater harvesting, plantation, as well as education and empowerment. We are actually trying to help out those people who are residing underprivileged areas. They have no facilities related to water or the basic necessities. They can't have an access directly.
Mhm.
So we, the foundation, in association with Prayas Ken Sansthan, Rajasthan in India, helping all kind of people who have the access or who haven't the access for the basic necessities around them. So that's what we are doing. And yeah, during this summit, you guys get to know more about us. That's it.
Very, very good. I'm getting an echo there. Someone's got a speaker on or something a little bit loud that creates an echo over the airways. But I was on Vanya Summit back in India, and the summit that she put on was for water conservation and rainwater harvesting. And later on today, you'll get to see a little 4.5 minute video of the work there. Because here in where I live, a lot of people, water is just something we take, for granted, like oxygen in the air. But over there, those folks, they have to really struggle to get clean, safe drinking water. And that's the reason why. And the 6-minute webinar, the way this summit came together, ladies and gentlemen, the 6-minute webinar was originally created for being able to get your program, your product, whatever, delivered out to your ideal client. Well, on Vanya's little summit, I say little summit, I'm just teasing, because she had all these people all over the world, including the Sultan, the King of Oman, was her guest of honor. So I thought, wow, I hope I sound intelligent, or at least make a good presentation. So I just got the 6-minute webinar, knowing the value that it brings. I used the format as my building blocks, and I gave a presentation. And afterwards, I introduced Vanya to the 6-minute webinar, had her fill out one. And before she even got done reading it, because Bill and Don will share with you the nuts and bolts of it and how everything works. But before she got done reading it, she says, wow, can we take this to the world? That's how this entire summit got born, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely. So in that case, I wanted to explore this. I mean, like exploding this.
Yeah.
And I wanted to loud shout out for the 6 minute webinar that
Yeah.
every single person wants to know this and has
Mhm.
to know this, that
Yeah.
what 6 minute webinar actually working and having the technology.
Yeah.
Uh, with their software or the website, you get to know
Yeah.
more about
Mhm.
this. So,
Yeah.
guys, please do register
Oh,
with 6 minute webinar, and you are going to. I mean,
yeah.
this is amazing, and your career boosts like anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me
that's
just
one of the
humbly,
most common things we hear is "Wow!"
yeah.
Like, oh, I'm blown away,
Yeah,
and it's one of
Yeah.
the things
every
you kind of
single
have to
person.
experience. You
Yeah.
have to see
Yeah.
it to believe it, even, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the one thing that I love about this summit, I know that you out there, you've seen a lot of speakers, you've been to a lot of functions, and they give you a lot of energy, they give you a lot of great information, but how do you put it together? The
Yeah,
6 minute
that's what
webinar,
my question
the
is.
6 minute
How did you
webinar,
build
ladies.
that, and how you
Yeah.
got that idea that this should be organized this way, and
Yeah.
at the end you get the script for
Mhm.
your
Yeah.
presentation, for your
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
and you just need to read out that presentation or the script to in
Oh,
front of
yeah.
your audience, in front of your
Yeah. I've got,
employees, everybody.
yeah, I just like to say that with Dr. Don McGrath, I mean, he doesn't take the credit, but he's the gentleman that created Script Pal, and Script Pal is going to be your best buddy because you're going to be able to put it all together and have it in your inbox. And we're going to be starting soon with our first speaker, but there's one other very important young lady I need to invite to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Caroline Opende. She is our MC, and she's going to be helping us, and we're so honored to have her join us from London, England. Welcome to the stage. How are you today?
I am well, thank you. I'm joining you from Manchester, actually.
Manchester, okay. I was only a couple of, a little bit off.
2 hours, right, by train?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 2 hours by train. That's pretty
Yeah.
good for me this early in the morning.
Wonderful. It's really a great honor and a pleasure to be here.
It certainly is for us too. And you've been on our TV show. I know a lot about you and your background. Would you just introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Caroline Opinde, and I am Kenyan, lived in South Africa, and I am married to a Portuguese man, and we live in the United Kingdom. So I like to introduce myself that way so people understand where I come from and my background. And one of the most important things that I came across in my life was when I was 7 years old, and as a Girl Scout, I had the privilege of raising funds for my fellow pupils in my school, students, if you may call them. And that ushered me into the world of philanthropy and the nonprofit world. And even though I wanted to do other things in life as a profession, setting out to study mathematics and chemistry, wanted to be a chemical engineer. In my last year studying at the University of Nairobi, Bachelor of Science, Mathematics and Chemistry, I was invited to be part of this nonprofit, and I haven't looked back. And today I'm here as a global consultant providing technical support to nonprofits around the world. So in a nutshell, that's who I am.
Thank you so much. And when we were on the TV show with us, the caliber of information that she gave to the audience, because we're here for you. We're not here for ourselves. And when I saw what Caroline brought to the party, I says, I've got to have that young lady as our MC on the summit because, oh my goodness gracious, the value you bring. And we're honored that you accepted to be our MC, Caroline. Thank you so much for being with us. And you're going to be with us, throughout. Well, I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to one gentleman who's in master control, Mr. Aaron Hymas at E360 TV. He's the president. Aaron has donated all of his time, all of his energy, and everything. The the technology, all the equipment behind the scene to broadcast us around the world. Aaron, if you can just slip out of master control and pop in here and say hello, we'd love to have you. If you're busy and tied up, that's okay too. But I want to give you a shout out and say thank you, Aaron, for everything that you've done. Because you're the reason why this summit is airborne and on all the major, platforms that we're on, the branded channels, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and even computers, Facebook, all over the place. Thank you so much for everything that you've done. I just want to give a shout out to Brother Aaron. And Don, we're about, let's see, we got about 5 minutes before we have our first speaker on, Sherry Wynn, the two-time Olympian.
So I'd like to share one other thing that came out of some of the talks yesterday that stuck in my mind. Speak to impact, not to impress. Ooh. And Jim, when you were talking about Caroline, that's kind of what she does. That's what you do, mm-hmm. Caroline, is speak to impact, not to impress. And that came mm-hmm. up several times in the talks yesterday. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what emerges from the wisdom that we're going to have in our speakers today.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Bill, I mean, you being here with us, you being a co-creator of the 6-minute webinar, the dean, you're the dean of the 6-minute webinar, because nobody does it better.
The dean of the College of Clarity.
Yeah, and you need to sign up in that college. I promise you that. But we're going to have a lot of fun today. And looking at our schedule here right quickly as I take a peek at it, we've got about 4 minutes left before our keynote speaker, two-time Olympian, Sherry Wynn. And Don, Bill, we've known Sherry Wynn for a little while, haven't we?
Sherry's an amazing person, and actually is someone that was one of the first people. We've been putting the 6-minute webinar through proof of concept testing for about a year and have had hundreds of people go through. Sherry was one of the first people. She's got a very impactful message. And Jim, when we talk about clarity, we talk about, communication, the 6-minute webinar is designed to take you to the heart, the soul of your message. Yes. We all are doing what we do because we have this desire inside of us to change the world in one way or another. And that's where the 6-minute webinar takes you. So it's a process that refines everything to such clarity. It's astounding.
It really is.
And anyone, whether you're speaking, you have products, you're providing service, you should definitely go through and really learn the framework of the 6-minute webinar. Don and I will be getting into it later on. It is a miraculous tool to use to get your message across authentically.
It really is. And I'd just like to humbly say before we bring Sherry Wynn on, I see her smiling back there, and she'll probably wave at me if I wave at her. Yeah, she is. But I just like to humbly say, how many times have you heard a speaker say, this is who I am. This is my name. This is my titles. This is my credentials. I'm an author. I'm, coach. I'm this, I'm that, and I'm the other. And with using this 6-minute webinar, when I was on Vanya Summit back in April, I simply greeted the audience like I always do. Good morning or hello, ladies and gentlemen. During my presentation today, I'm going to share with you 3 proven ways that you can make your community a better place to live. That has a lot more impact to reach out and, touch the person out there, rather than this is who I am and this is what I do, because that provides no value. But let me do a little, I got a screen popping up here. We got people coming in and all that. But let me get ready to have Caroline introduce Sherry Wynn. So if everyone would just remove themselves there, you can do that. And let's see here. There we go. And Mr. Bill, there we go. Caroline, I'm gonna do the pushing the button, and you're gonna do the welcome to the stage for Sherry Wynn, 2-time Olympian.
Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're joining us from around the world, put your hands together for Sherry Wynn. Sherry Wynn is a two-time Olympian. She is a National Basketball Coach of the Year and an Amazon three-time best-selling author. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not all. She is also an in-demand, internationally renowned speaker who frequently speaks for up to, listen to this, 14,000 people at a time, including companies. And what are these companies? Examples are StubHub, Anytime Fitness. Have you heard of that? New York Life, Edward Jones, and Adobe. We use Adobe every day. She speaks in these countries, to these companies. And that's not all. With over 34 years of leadership as a national champion basketball coach and a two-time Olympian, Sherry, ladies and gentlemen, is an expert at coaching leaders, not just basketball, but leaders and teams to championship status. She has successfully taken leaders beyond their levels of comfort to winning. We all want to win. This is the woman who can take you there to winning against competitors who were superior in talent, facilities, and financial budgets. You want to know what her philosophy is? Through her win philosophy and winner's principle, she shares insider secrets on how to succeed even when the odds seem insurmountable, so that teams, fields, acts, conquers their goal like the Olympian she is. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Sherry Wynn. Sherry, welcome.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. So I'm going to share with you today the 3 essential ingredients for winning conversations so that you can motivate your people to double their productivity. So this is going to be a little bit different than you might think about are the essential elements of a winning conversation. The number one thing that you must do in order to create that is to double, that's right, is to double your ability to understand emotional intelligence. Why is that essential? Because emotional intelligence, I'm going to give you the 4 components of emotional intelligence. Number 1 is the ability to be self-aware. That's right, the ability to be self-aware. Now, folks, only 15% of the population is self-aware. That's right, isn't that crazy? Think about that. Only 15% of the population is self-aware. So why is that important in conversation? Because this is what it does for you. If you understand what triggers you, when you think about having a conversation with somebody and you're triggered by something, or you get upset by something, you get frustrated by something, you get angered by something, that's self-awareness. So you understand that, and your ability to understand that allows you with the second piece of emotional intelligence, which is the ability to master your emotions. Now think about that. If you're not self-aware, then you can't master your emotions. Well, emotions are always a component of every conversation that you're going to have. Because listen, when you get emotional, you can't control what comes out of your mouth. And then that conversation blows up. And it's really hard and almost impossible to bring back somebody after you've had that moment of explosion on them. So number 1 is the ability to be self-aware. Number 2 is the ability to master those emotions. Number 3 is the capacity to manage relationships. So let's look at this. If you can't master your emotions, there's no way that you can master relationships. And every conversation is the relationship. You cannot separate conversation and relationships. They are connected. They're ultimately connected because the conversation is the relationship. And the 4th component of emotional intelligence is the ability to master your social awareness. So you understand, when you walk into a room, you can feel the room, you can connect with the room, you feel when somebody's upset, you feel when somebody's frustrated. And all of those together create the components of emotional intelligence. And why is that important in communication? Well, emotional intelligence is the number one indicator of job performance, and also the number 1 indicator of leadership. So when you think about communication, it's really your ability to understand yourself so that when you're in the conversation, you understand the other person. Because the more that you understand you is the more that you understand the other person. My first key is really tap into and grow your emotional intelligence. Take the time to understand yourself better so that you can master your emotions and master those relationships. Number two is the ability, and this is critical, folks. If you really step in and listen to this, I want you to hear this. This is so important. Is when we master our emotions, and most people will say to me, oh, Coach Wynn, you don't get it. Like I get angry, I have the anger DNA, like my whole family's angry. And so then I get angry. I can't stop it. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Or I cry, Coach Wynn. I cry like the first thing I do when I go to that place of feeling threatened by the conversations, I start crying. I can't stop that. Yes, you can. Right? Because you have the ability to walk beyond your emotion. Let me say that again. You have the ability to walk beyond your emotion. And that doesn't mean we want to be emotionless. What it means is we want to be able to control, right? We want to be able to respond rather than react in our conversations. So critical. We want to be able to respond rather than react. And you've probably seen people all your life that get reactive in conversations. And then the conversation ends up going nowhere. You've probably seen that. You felt that. You stepped into that. And when you do that, what happens is look, people won't come to you. They won't have the conversations with you. You won't know the things that you need to know in order to run a great company or organization. So here's what I would like to say to you is this is important. Write this down. It's called Q-tip, Q-T-I-P. And what that means in order to master your emotions, to walk beyond the emotions so that you can respond rather than react, right, is Q-T-I-P. What does that mean, folks? It means quit taking it personally. Quit taking it personally because it's not about you. It's never about you. When somebody's talking to you, it's never about you. And you're going to say, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Of course it is. No. Listen, folks, there's only one place that people can speak from, and that is from their own lifetime of experiences. It's the only place they can speak from. They cannot speak from anywhere else. They can only speak from that space. So when somebody comes to you and they're having a conversation with you, they're speaking from this lifetime of experiences, all the things that have happened in their life. And see, there's a lot of people, if you're not in emotional intelligence, there's a lot of people who never, ever get beyond those experiences. So they don't read, they don't get coached, they don't get mentored, they don't do the things that create clarity, right, in their life. And so what they do is they take that whole mountain full, that whole valley full, that whole history full of things, and they bring it into the current conversation. And what happens is that you allow their story to become your story. And the moment you do that, you get reactive. And when you get reactive, you lose control of the mastery of your ability to control all of those words, the words that you need to say to create a better relationship. So here's the thing, folks. You have to Q-tip. So you start Q-tipping. And here's my mantra for that. Here's my mantra. It's like this. It's not about me. It's about you. It's not about me. It's about you. It's not about me. It's about you. That's a silent mantra. Silent. Never, ever say that out loud. It's silent mantra, because what you want to remember is this, like it really isn't about you. It's about them. And so many times when we start thinking it's about us, then we get reactive. And when we get reactive, the conversation is never going to go the direction we want it to go. So the people who are great at having conversations, they understand this and they pull this in and they use this and they understand. Then they can say things like, I understand what you're saying. Please tell me more about that. That's interesting. I'd love to know more about that. And so they engage differently in conversations. So here's what's going to happen too, guaranteed. You're going to be like, oh, Coach Wynn, this is so cool. I'm going to be Q-tipping. I'm going to Q-tip. I'm going to do the mantra. And you're going along in conversations and somebody says something to you that's not so cool. And you start going, it's not about me. It's about you. It's not about me. It's about you. And then what happens is that it hurts you anyway. And you're like, Coach Wynn, you're a liar. Just want to know, you're a liar. I'm going to tell you right now, you are a liar. Because there's a second part to this. And this is equally important, folks. is that when somebody says something and it hurts you, get curious. Because it's not that they said it that hurts you. What hurts you is that you believe it. That's right. If somebody said to me, Coach Wynn, you have the ugliest brown eyes I've ever seen, I would immediately go, something's wrong with that person. Like, I got blue eyes. I've had blue eyes all my life. Something's wrong with them. They must be a little off. So, and I let it go immediately. But when somebody says something that I believe to be true, that aligns with my truth, I get defensive. And that's the cue, right? You get defensive, you know that you've taken it personally. You know that you've aligned, because nobody can hurt you without your permission. Nobody can hurt you without your permission. So what you do is there's somewhere they say something and it taps into, it triggers a part of your history, right? A part of your herstory. It goes into you, it taps into that, and you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm angry. And then you go back at that person because they said something that you believe to be true. Even if all of you saying that's not true, there's a portion of you that's living in that moment. So this could be your 6-year-old self. It could be your 16-year-old self. It could be your 26-year-old self. Any of those people. And what happens, they tap into that. You immediately leap into that. And so now you're angry, upset, frustrated, overwhelmed, into grief, right? And you get defensive. And this is where you get curious, like what is it that they said that triggered this emotion? And you get any of that emotion that comes up, and then you're incapable of having that conversation. So people often ask me, well, Coach Wynn, how do I, if I know I can get curious and I see myself getting defensive, how am I able to move beyond that? And folks, the only way that I know is to forgive. That's right. That's the only way that I know, is to get beyond those wounds that you have within you. And that's what propels us to get in these conversations where we get reactive, is because somebody triggers a wound that we have, and we blow up. So here's the thing. You have to heal those wounds. So you have to know they exist. You get in the awareness that comes back to the self-awareness I talked about earlier. You dive into that awareness, you get curious, and you go, okay, where did that hurt me? Why did that hurt me? What's going on? What piece of my life, of my history, have they tapped into that I'm getting triggered right now? And you get curious about that. And once you get curious, and once you define that and you've tapped into that, the next thing you want to do is to say, okay, I need to now forgive. There's 3 levels of forgiveness. All right. First level is forgive the other person. And this is hard because we think if we forgive them that somehow we're condoning a behavior. We're not. Right? And Lamott said this, not forgiving somebody else is like drinking rat poison and hoping the other person will die. Well, doesn't work. So what we're saying is I'm ready to move beyond this. I'm ready to let that go so that I can live in the present moment, so that I can be here for you to have this conversation, so I can be present in this moment. That's what it means. And then the second level of forgiveness is forgiving yourself. And many people have the hardest time at this level, because we always think if we could have only done this or only said this, it would have turned out differently, which is a lie, by the way, right? It's a lie that we tell ourselves, that if we only would have done X, X, and X, it might have not made any difference. We don't know. And the third level of forgiveness is to forgive the higher power that you believe in. So when you say, why did this happen to me? That's the implication is the why is something up there beyond you. And those are the 3 levels of forgiveness that you must step into. So let me quickly review, folks, before I have to step out of here. Number 1 is that you want to tap into the emotional intelligence. You want to gain emotional intelligence so that you can have better conversations. Number 2 is you really want to step into that Q-tip, the QTIP, quit taking it personally. And number 3, the third thing is you want to, that nobody can hurt you without your permission. So heal your own wounds. And when you do these things, see, you're really present for conversations. You're able then to respond rather than react, and the conversation is going to be much different. So I want to thank everybody who's here today. And just to let you know, if you want to find me, you can find me at thewinningleadershipcompany.com. If you want to have a further conversation, I'm always happy to have conversations with folks. So everybody, I've got my timer on. I got 15 minutes in, and I just so appreciate all the folks, the foundation, the folks, Don McGrath, Bill Heinrich, and Jim Grant, for giving me this opportunity to share with you today, and to know that, communication, the conversation is the relationship. You cannot have a conversation without impacting that relationship. So every conversation you have either builds that relationship or it destroys a relationship. You have to make the decision on where you want to go with this. You have to make that decision on what level of relationship you want to have through your conversations. And no business, no organization can operate without relationships. So everybody, I want to thank you so much. I appreciate you right now. I'm going to invite people to come back on the show. I only want to take my time up. So whoever's going to step back in the program, please step back in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, I appreciate all of you here today. They're here today. You got to turn Carolyn, you got to turn on your.
Thank you so much, Sherry. It's really amazing to know that we can Q-tip all the time. Quit taking it personally. And right now, I'm just going to go straight into welcoming Bill Heinrich and Don, who will lead the panel discussion. Welcome on. Thank you so much, Sherry. Really appreciate you. We will be Q-tipping all the way. That is wonderful.
Thank you, Sherry. Wow, what that was absolutely fantastic. It's going to be one of my takeaways is Q-tip from this conference today.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as I look back, I think if the whole world can Q-tip, there will be no war. There will just be peace. Honestly. So I'm going to hand over to you to take us into a panel discussion with the team that we have today.
All right, excellent. So is Bill going to join me? Is Bill joining me? There he is.
Here I am. Hey, Sherry, thank you, Sherry Wynn. She was amazing. Q-tip.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our panelists join us, and this is going to be about, they'll be sharing with us 2 minutes each about leadership and communication with respect to teamwork in a company or kind of a corporate setting. So Chakora, yeah, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Lauren, Magath, excellent. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's just kick this up. So Chakora, you were the first one to pop on, so I'm going to put you in the first spot. Please share with us in 2 minutes a thought that you have about communication and leadership with respect to teamwork or some kind of a company setting.
Absolutely, Don. Good morning, and thank you for having me. I think it's very clear as a leader, when you are leading a team, that you have to be clear, and that acronym can be used in order to pave the way. Right? So first you need to be very concise. Be concise about what your expectations are for the team so that the team can go in that direction. Oftentimes, when you're not very clear and concise about where your team wants to go, you'll have team members that are operating in ways you didn't expect, but they're doing it based upon what they're assuming that you want. So let's be very concise, right? And be very lead-based. Lead-based meaning that you want to show them and demonstrate within your actions what you're expecting of them. You know the saying that goes, do as I say, not as I do. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. Oftentimes your team is looking at you to not only tell them, but to show them exactly what to do. They want to see it within your character. They want to see it within the actions that you take within the company as well. Because it's hard to follow a leader that is saying one thing, but yet doing another. Next, we're going to go to E, and you want to make sure that whatever you're asking your team to do, you're going to cause them to be elevated, right? And equipped, elevated and equipped. So what I mean by that, when they are elevated, right? It's not that they're going to bypass you. It's not that they're going to become like your boss or what have you. But you want to make sure that they are equipped with the same characteristics in which you will look for in a leader. Leaders birth leaders. I'll say it again, leaders both birth leaders. So if you equip them in order to elevate to their next level, they're only going to make you a better leader. Next action. Make sure that whatever the team is being instructed to do, they can actually take action, right? That action is going to also make them accountable. It's going to hold them accountable for not only what you've told them to do, but what the expectation is of them once they take that action. You definitely want to be very clear in that. Finally, in being clear, let's make sure that our team can go back and reassess what has been done so they can reteach it to the rest of their teammates as well, down the line if they desire to be leaders as well, right? This is something that you want to make sure that for them, they can reteach it to someone else. Again, leaders birth leaders. So they're going to copy the right cat, right? Give them something that they can reteach. And I am Charcora Palmer, Power Financial, and thank you, Don, for opening up the panel. I'll turn it back over to you.
Wow, Charcora, that was absolutely fantastic. And I love what you said about leaders birthing leaders and elevating people. It's the hardest thing for a new leader to do is to let go. Hardest thing for a new leader to do is do less. So I love your clear analogy. Bill, any comment?
Yeah, yesterday one of our speakers said, managers feel important, leaders make you feel important. And you spoke about elevating, getting your people elevated and equipped. What's one other tip you could give somebody that where they can lead their team better in that area, Shakura?
Absolutely, Bill. Well, elevating and equipping is going to definitely take the leader to set pride aside. That's number one. Setting pride aside. A lot of times, what is found is, you think that equipping someone else is like equipping them in order to take over your job. That's not so. You're equipping them to push you to another level so they can also elevate. Right. So it's not a matter of being intimidated or seeing it as competition. It's actually your help. So, Bill, I think it's very key that we keep that in mind as we're equipping leaders. Equipping leaders is only going to make your jobs easier within the corporate sector or entrepreneurship or whatever sector you operate in.
Boy, it's so true, Don. I give a keynote speech on the difference between accountability and responsibility. And when you hold your people accountable, you have problems. When you teach them to be responsible, everybody thrives, right, Shakara?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, that links so much to what Sherry was talking about, because we all like to think that we are the most important thing in the world. We're wired that way, and it takes training to get beyond that. So I want to welcome our next panelist to share with us in 2 minutes a thought about leadership and communication. Pangaran, can you share with us your thoughts? You can unmute.
Thanksgiving, my precious sisterhood and brotherhood. We thanks for all relationship for the Winya Culture Foundation Presence, Leadership and Communication Summit 2021. I very thanks everyone and feel in the heart only to be heart to heart and every touching and brotherhood and sisterhood. I very especially very heard it into my heart to heart. Whatever everything to you on your heart, will you all your speaker and relationship we watch must together one family love. This is my message to point is everyone and touching all now is must stay and safe healthy. It's very important for this or everyone brotherhood and sisterhood. For this is very important we woo and man and woo and man. So all sure they know heart to heart together everyone feeling and touching. This I'm actually is a doctor healer and healing. I'm a special born. I have a royal background family. For me, few ago and many touching for the whole world. My father is a sir a long time ago, World War II. So a long time, many all the humanity suffer everything. But now we successful men and women is very important and Adam and Hawa. So very important. Everyone heart to heart together, stay and safe, healthy. Is very important. I very thanks and heard and thanksgiving for Dom also Dr. Dom. Everyone touching for Archbishop prayer, Bishop prayer, nice them, officer, grand officer, commander, grand commando. Everyone now feel and this of the COVID, but it's only the word. You feel like positive. Sure, you will be success to step and healthy. It's very important. And once again, to love everyone, planet, education, and all children, and all great grand, everywhere great grand. It's very important, heart to heart. I today is only just message you. Is only just very important. Stay and safe. Many. I only just feel in the heart to heart. Very important. Is very deep in the heart. I feeling whatever what you see, everything. I join to your organization everywhere. I'm a spiritual and actual two in one. I'm a together blessing. This is an ancestor blood for my great grandmother from Inner Mongolia, Queen, and my mother, Portugal, His Imperial Highness, Princess. My father's side, all relative, all belong to Sultanate or Sultan of Brunei. This is why I need everyone stay safe and healthy. This is I only doctor, healer and healing. A long time ago.
Whoops.
You
Yeah.
got muted?
Yeah, I really, Pangarin, what you're saying is the ultimate in communication. It's the ability to communicate heart to heart, to be able to connect energetically with each other. Before, when Sherry Wynn was speaking, she was talking about Q-tip, quit taking it personal, not going into reaction. Those reactions are all created energetically, and there's just too much communication from an intellectual level rather than a heart level. When we come from our hearts, we come from a place of love. When we come from our heads, we come from a place of fear. Isn't that correct?
Yes, we together in the cell. We
Mm-hmm.
together join together. So remember, all cell is the same.
Mm-hmm.
We are connection connect. We are everyone, the children, by the God. This is
Yes.
very important. All heaven so clear. We are touching bond gifted directly. I'm born directly bright light because I want to see cells is very important to touching the positive. Or
Right.
think about positive. Don't think about negative. We all this time successful done positive will be all the chain. I will be you heart to heart together.
Wow,
Yes.
that was
Well,
absolutely fantastic.
thank you very much. The message is so true. This is my area of specialty. And when we talk about communication, the ultimate communication is an energetic communication. And this is what's the key in the 6-minute webinar is we have emotional components built into that create that heart to heart connection based on the problems that we've shared so that we understand we're all equal. We all come from the same place. Very, very good. Thank you. Don, you want to introduce our next panelist?
Yeah, Miga, I would love for you to share with us a thought in a couple minutes about your thoughts on communication and leadership.
Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you for having me. It's an honor. And yeah, I believe true leaders lead by example, as it's a very famous saying. So, one of the most important aspects, I would say, is empathy. So, we are empathetic towards our colleagues or juniors or whoever is that is working with us. And we as a leader have a habit of active listening and transparency as to what others wants to communicate to you. It's not about leaders is not just about just dominating or just passing their judgments and everything. So it's like it's about also the 360-degree feedback that you get from the juniors or your colleagues or whoever it is that you're communicating with, and also how how much clarity you have in your communication, the body language especially. I come from a pageant world. I work as a project manager in a corporate firm, as well as I have won too many pageants. So, I know what body language is very important in communication. How, as we say, there are forms of communication. One is very strong, is non-verbal. Through your actions, you can show, how you feel, how you can communicate, even without saying a lot of words, you can communicate. You can make people understand. So that is also one of the very important aspects, body language. And you should, as previously also on and off the speakers and keynote speakers expressed that you have to have an active listening, or an open-ended communication or conversation. You should be ready to take the feedback and listen to. You should have the habit of listening as well, not just saying, or you're presenting your views or your thoughts. You should be able to welcome what others have to say, or their thinking, or what their thought process is. You have to you have to have the capacity of taking them in as a human. And you have to be actually compassionate, and like I mentioned, empathy is one very important aspect. You have to have compassion to understand what the other person is trying to convey. It might be, there could be barriers like religion, regional or caste or language barrier, the ethnicity. It could be anything. So you have to surpass those barriers, and you have to understand the person, what they're trying to say. person and what they are trying to say. That might sound too sweet to you at times, but one must have that compassion to understand what the other person is trying to communicate or express. So that is what I believe is very important for a true leader. Have empathy and compassion towards other humans.
Excellent. So thank you so much. I love what you said about empathy and listening. And that was a theme that came out yesterday, was how the best leaders ask the best questions and the best leaders are the best listeners. So do we have Surya? I thought I saw him come in and go back out again. Is he joining us? So Bill, oh, there we go. All right. So in the interest of time, thank you so much, Miga. I want to move on and have Surya share his thoughts, a couple of minutes about leadership and communication. Is Surya's
Go ahead,
connection?
Surya. Can you hear us?
I think he must be having some.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, now we can. Can you hear us?
Good evening, everyone. Right now. Hi, okay now.
Yes, Surya, we're having some technical difficulty with your sound. We'll have to have Jim check on that. For some reason, your internet isn't working, and your screen keeps freezing.
So let's see if we can get that solved. Jim, are you able to solve
Yes,
that?
I'm going to be working on her with that. I got to take her from the studio and work on it backstage. We'll be right back.
Okay, well, we got just like another minute to wrap up for this panel. Bill, do you have any closing question or comment?
There's so many incredible things have been said. And when she was just speaking about empathy, that goes right along with what Pengiran was talking about, because the ultimate form of communication is communicating from your heart, communicating energetically. It isn't the words, is it, Shakura? It's the energy behind the words. There's a saying that no one will remember what you said, but they'll always remember how you made them feel, right, Shakura? Why don't you just speak about that real briefly?
Absolutely. That is the first thing that people are going to remember. Even before you open up your mouth to communicate with them verbally, they're looking at your body language. They're looking at how you approach them, right? And they're also weighing in on how they've already decided, once they've done that, kind of figured you out, how they're going to respond. So that is very important, because people are going to remember just how, the first impression was, whether it be verbally or whether it be, within your actions. So definitely, Bill, you hit the nail right on the head. That is very important.
And one thing that struck me is the relationship between what the two of you talked about. And this came up again yesterday about relationship first, operations second. So Chakura, you talked a lot about operations, about being clear, about your intention, about your communication. I think it's been our experience and my experience that's really difficult to do if you don't have a good relationship with your team. But when you do the things that Pengiran was talking about, is connecting with them in the heart and being able to, and really connecting with them and building that relationship, a strong foundation, then the other stuff gets easy. So it struck me about the relationships here, and it ties right in with the empathy. So absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, the empathy piece, love and fear are unable to cohabitate a space. Only one or the other can be present. They cannot hang out together. There's only room for one or the other. Don, do you want to introduce our next guest and just jump in?
Yes, I'm so happy that we were able to get you in on the panel, Olabugu. So we would love for you to share with us in a couple of minutes a thought from your experience on leadership and communication in a team setting. Can you hear us?
Yeah, we have another frozen screen. These things happen with a global conference. We have people coming in from all around the world. And unfortunately, as we all know, the internet can be a little bit sketchy every now and then. And we'll have to see if we can bring these people back in. Mega, did you have any comment that you wanted to make? I know you also ran into a bit of internet got bounced out.
Yes.
But were there any other final comment you wanted to make?
Yes, as I mentioned previously also, in today's world, especially when we are going agile in terms of, project and everything, every approach rather. So I guess any true leader actually is a lot dependent on how the team cooperates with him or her. So, a leader has to have the support from the team, and that can only be done through communication. And we learned that, in project management, whether you're a junior level or you're the CEO, the project management or a good management / leader, the key is the communication. So 90% of the quality that a good manager or a leader should possess is communication. So if it's not good, then, a thing that you said in past or present can, be interpreted in a wrong way, and it can go otherwise. So, proving it wrong for the organization as a whole or for your personal growth, etc. So communication is very important in how you present things and how transparent you are and how you're able to, lead people by example and how you're able to influence them. Communication is the only key how you can, just make them fall in love with you, or, make them respect you, or just follow them for who you are. That's, and just the communications, as we see from George Washington to Mahatma Gandhi, that it was just their words that, impacted the whole world. So, that was just communication and how and what they said. So that's all I want to say. It's quite important. Communication is the key to, every success, or in personal or professional growth. It's very important, even for the personal growth and your relationships.
So many leaders get tied to their objectives of what they need to accomplish because they have to answer to the higher ups themselves. And when you focus on teaching your team responsibility, this is the one thing that we all thrive for, not accountability, because when you're working from a place of accountability, what you're working towards is a moving target that anybody can change on you anytime. But if you're taking full responsibility and you learn how to do that, you can work equally with anyone and you can work coherently together from a place of win-win, rather than avoiding getting yourself into trouble because you didn't do some right. Responsibility creates power. Accountability can only create victims, right, Don?
Absolutely. And with that, I'll wrap up the panel. I want to thank all of our panelists for joining us today and for sharing your wisdom. And even those that had internet problems, I want to thank them for their efforts in making the attempt to get on. We'll see if we can rectify that.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Bill. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you
for
all
having
very
us.
much.
It was an honor.
Thank you, Pengiran. Thank you very much, Shakura. Thank you, Mega.
Thank you.
What a great panel that was. I mean, I have been taking notes, ladies and gentlemen. I hope as you are listening, you are taking notes. I'm taking notes and sharing it on social media. And I just want to thank Dr. John and Bill Heinrich for that amazing panel with Megan Derby, with Shakura Palmer, with His Royal Highness, Pangeran Prince, and Olubugi Ifeanyi Petswise. Thank you so much for the amazing golden gems that you have just dropped on our laps about communication, about empathy and understanding, about being clear, about heart-to-heart communication of brotherhood and sisterhood, about how to build relationship fast and to put operations second. I've been taking notes, ladies and gentlemen.
I can tell. I can tell.
I am taking notes.
You could write the book.
Thank you so much. I came here to learn. Because I know we have the best of the best in this arena and in this platform. And so we are going to take a small break, and then we will be back. When we come back, we will have the 6-minute webinar with Don, Bill, and a volunteer.
Right.
Jim, over to you. Jim and Donna, are we going to play something during the small break that we are taking?
Hey, this is Aaron from E360 TV. I just want to encourage all of you to join in the Leadership and Communication Summit 2021. Vanya and her team have been working hard, and it seems it's going to be an amazing event. We're very, very proud to sponsor this year's Leadership and Communication Summit, and it will be playing live across all of our platforms on E360 TV. So join the summit, download the E360 TV app, and enjoy the awesome show.
Hey, Don, how you doing?
Great.
That was
great job.
That was a tremendous panel you had there, and I was busy working on something technically behind the scenes, and I'm trying to figure out, I got to switch over here and jump onto that commercial for our good friend Aaron Hymas, the president of E360 TV, who is making this summit possible by using this technology, his studios, everything to the branded channels to be able to bring this great information. And like I said before, you're in for a treat because you can go to a lot of places, hear a lot of good presentations, but then how do you put it all together? Right now, Dr. Don McGrath, Mr. Bill Heinrich, and we have a young lady who has been so kind to volunteer here. I got to get my glasses on here and act my age. Nancy Garnon. I'm going to add her to the stream, and the stage is yours.
All right. Thank you so much, Jim. Welcome, Nancy. So you probably heard, if you've been watching the summit, you've heard 6-minute webinar at least 6 times. That's my guarantee. You've heard 6-minute webinar at least 6 times. And this segment is to share with you what the heck is 6-minute webinar. And I'll just start by saying why we created this. Why we created this is that we work with a lot of entrepreneurs. And what we find is that one of the biggest problems they have is communicating briefly, succinctly, with clarity to their perfect client, perfect customer, perfect audience, with the right message and having a call to action. So that's why that was the birth of it, right, Bill?
Yeah, you know, the the number one challenge that we see with any entrepreneur is, to put it down in one word, it's called spewing. They talk about a lot of different things, and they're always talking about things from their perspective, talking about what they do, go into the mode for convincing. So when we created the 6-minute webinar, we this has been through a 1-year proof of concept, brought many people through it. We have 12 critical sections in it that are absolutely required in order for you to make a powerful call to action. Now, the framework of the 6-minute webinar can be used for anything in life. When you're trying to figure out a situation that you don't have the answer to, your call to action is finding that answer. And you start by looking at what it is you're after. You go into what you want the situation to look like, right, Don? And I'll let you talk a little bit about the 12 areas, the 12 critical areas.
Yes, absolutely. And begin with the end in mind, right? Begin with what are you trying to accomplish? But you can't start your webinar with that, right? You got to start with something else. So over the past year, we have created a framework, and we have an application called ScriptPal where you answer about 40 questions, and it takes that information and assembles it into that framework, the perfect framework for moving someone to action. Okay. And that begins with the introduction. This is your 7 seconds to get someone's attention and have them decide, do they need your help or not? And if not, they should go away. And if so, they should be saying, tell me more. Right, Bill?
This is why the introduction needs to be simple. You need to keep it simple in a simple language. And we have everyone that works with the 6-minute webinar use the same title, a 6-minute webinar about the 3 keys to blank. That way you're defining your audience instantly. From there, you take them into a future pace. Why don't you speak about that, Don?
Yeah, future pace is now you got their attention. Now you got the right people to say, tell me more, and the wrong people to go away. So now you get them to feel like, what is it going to feel like when their problem is solved, when they're at that pinnacle, when they're feeling great? What is that going to feel like? So you bring them there. Bill, you're muted.
Yes.
I'm muted. Maybe the best I've ever sounded.
It was brilliant.
Thank you. After the future pacing, we have a section that I call Now You See It, Now You Don't. Because you have the title of what's going to be solved, what problem you solve for whom. You talk about the future pacing, then it gets taken away because you talk about the real life situation of the problem that exists and the struggle that goes along with it. Isn't that right, Don?
Absolutely. You want them to feel and connect with the pain that they're going through. And you know what? If they're not struggling with the pain that you can help them with, they should go. They should stop pain. They should not waste their time and not waste your time. And if they are suffering that pain, they should say, tell me more. And this is where you share with them your struggle story, how you struggled with that problem, why you are doing the things that you are today to help them to get out of the situation that they're in. That's called the struggle story. And this is where they emotionally connect with you.
It's the most important part of any time you have a conversation with anyone about anything. It's your ability to let them know that you understand the struggle they're going through to get to this future pacing that you've talked about. This is where the connection is. This is what our panel was just talking about. It's creating the empathy. It's creating the heart connection. The people are hearing you say, wow, this person knows what they're talking about because they've had this problem, right, Don? I mean, it's so important. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, and this is the first little mini story that you're going to tell. Not a big, long story, but a very, very brief story. And I know, Nancy, when we worked on yours, it's a specific thing, like a specific time. When were you? Gosh, I was trying to do this and I needed to hop in the car and I had to drive 10 miles. So this is that mini story. And then once you connect with them emotionally, you share with them a secret. I will share with you a secret that will help you to solve your problem. And I promise that by the end of this 6-minute webinar, you will get 3 keys to solving your problem. Right, Bill?
It's everybody loves a secret. And it's with that secret, like they're looking forward to a secret. And the reason Nancy's laughing because we all love secrets. They're looking, they know there's a secret for them to have success. After that, you're going to make a promise to them, something that you guarantee you're going to deliver. Now, what's critical about this with the 6-minute webinar is we have a simple title and you have to maintain a very tight thread all the way through that 6-minute webinar that stays right in alignment with the problem you're going to solve. If you go off talking about other things, you're going to lose people. This is why it was all created in 6 minutes, right, Don?
Absolutely. Short, to the point. Imagine if I said to you, come listen to my hour-and-a-half long webinar where I'll share with you the 3 keys. You're not going to do it anymore. People used to, but people say, I got 6 minutes. I'm willing to listen to you. So once you've struggled, now if all you do is struggle, you're not really good to anybody. So you share your solution story. This is how you discovered the solution that you now use to help others.
Again, that's so important, Don, because everything that we do in our careers and profession, we are doing because of a struggle that we encountered at some point in time. That's why we're doing it, because we feel, Nancy shaking her head, yeah, because we feel so strongly that we can help others not face that same problem. And you share how you've come up with that solution. And then after that, you do something that's very unusual, because we're over halfway into the 6-minute webinar. You actually tell them who you are. Because they don't care. All they care about is they have a problem. And you're so connected to them now, you go into your credibility story, right, Don?
Yeah. And typically when people, let's say you have 6 minutes, let's say you're at an event and everybody gets a couple minutes to introduce themselves. Almost everybody begins with, hi, I'm Don McGrath. I'm a best-selling author. I'm a speaker. I blah, 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 right? And the reality is people don't care. People don't care. Initially, what they're after is, what's in it for me? Like, and sorry, but that's the way our brains are wired. So about halfway through the 6-minute webinar, you get to say who you are and what you do and really introduce yourself. Before that, and this came up yesterday and came up today, it's not about you. Sherry talked about this. It's not about you. It's about who you can help first.
It's only about who you can help and how you can help them. When you do speak to your credibility story, the only things you tell them about you are things that support what you're teaching, things that support the problem you're solving. They don't care. If you've written books on other subjects, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. The only thing that matters is anything that can support how you're going to help them solve a problem. And then you give them the 3 simple keys, not a long explanation. I've written hundreds of these 6-minute webinars. And when we get to the 3 keys, the sentence shouldn't be more than 4 or 5 words. Here's the first step. Here's the second step. Here's the third step. In fact, Don, you notice how Sherry did that in hers. Let me give you the 3 keys, right? Because Sherry's been through the 6-minute webinar. Yeah.
And what you want your ideal customer or your perfect client or your student or whoever you're speaking to, you want them to be saying inside their head, I can do that. And if you come up with 12 keys, right, or some very convoluted, very complex, really the most smartest people I ever knew make really complex things seem really simple. So that's why this is just 3 keys to make it. It should be simple, simple, simple.
After you've given the 3 keys, you'll then share a client success story. I worked with Mary. Here's what her problems were. You're reiterating what you said before. Here's what Mary did following the solutions that I had laid out before. And then here are the results that Mary had, showing the credibility that it works. From that, you go into the value stack and talk about what people are going to get when they meet with you, right, Don?
Yeah, you invite them to say, hey, come have a call about doubling your sales in your real estate business, right, Nancy? Come have a call with me about doubling the sales in your real estate business. And when you do, you'll finally understand what the most successful real estate agents do. You'll have tools that will help you to double your income, and you will feel empowered to move forward and grow your business like you could never have imagined. So that's the value stack. You tell them what they're going to get when you take the action with you and schedule a call.
And you let them know how to get in touch with you so that you can speak to them regardless of what it is that you're going to speak to them about. And what happens is, the fascinating thing is, we spend so much time learning all of the things we can learn to help others at a higher level. We get lost in our own forest and we can't see the forest through the trees, and we're talking our language. And when you talk the client's language, they pay attention. That's why we have Nancy here. Nancy has a 6-minute webinar that she's done that she's going to go through and read for us. And I want you to pay attention just how short, sweet, and succinct it is. Nancy, go ahead.
Thank you, Gil. And can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're great.
Nice. Okay. Thank you. Welcome to the 6-minute webinar where I will share with you 3 simple steps to have all of your contact information at your fingertips, allowing you to stay connected, make more money, and have more fun. What would it feel like to be in total control of your life and have a thriving business? Awesome, right? We would love to have stability and growth in our business while also having fun outside of work. But it is so hard and it can be so frustrating. You throw advertising dollars at the wall to see what sticks. You sometimes drop the ball in your connections with clients and they end up working with your competitor. You try the latest and greatest marketing scheme that comes your way, and the only one that gets results is the one that sold it to you. Does that all sound familiar? I remember it was 5 years ago. I was trying to reach one of the parties in a real estate transaction because I needed information to keep the transaction together. It turns out that their contact information was at my office and not accessible to me at my home. So I had to get into my car, drive the 10 miles one way so that I could make a simple phone call. It took over an hour out of my day that I had not planned on. Has something like this ever happened to you? Would you like me to share with you a secret that I unexpectedly stumbled upon that connects you deeply to your clients and unlocks the true potential of your business? My promise to you is that by the end of this 6-minute webinar, you will know 3 simple steps to help you take control of your business rather than to have it control you. Does that sound good? I'm Nancy Garnan, owner of Tope and Ike, offering strategic success tools relationship building system. For over 25 years, I've been showing real estate professionals how to build strong connections and deep relationships with clients so that they can make more money and have more fun. What I discovered was that most client relationship systems are too complex, hard to use, and none of them had the key features that I needed. I decided to find a solution to this problem. I had all the pieces in one place. So I went on a quest and tried all the different tools that I could get my hands on. Like I said, I stumbled upon a solution that changed my life quite unexpectedly. Then I discovered strategic success tools owned by Tope and I, and it's made my life so much easier and fun. It's made it simple to pull deals together, linking all the right people, and making it so easy. I was so excited that I sat down and I defined a simple 3-step process to help real estate professionals use strategic success tools to organize and manage their contacts and their business. Here are the 3 steps. Import your existing contact list and email addresses. Send an email to your existing client base. The ease of communication creates deeper connections. When all of these 3 steps are implemented in the proper way, the results are astounding. Dave was a new agent who wanted to market into a neighborhood and get listings. He offered a free report with recent home sale information for the neighborhood. He sent out a postcard to the neighborhood and people opted in to get this information, which added them to his database. He told me that several homeowners signed up for the free report and he was able to establish relationships with them as future clients. He was thrilled. So I just decided to offer Strategic Success Tools relationship building system that's offered by Tope and Ike to show real estate professionals how to deeply connect with their clients and unlock the true potential of their business. Are you ready to understand how to control your business rather than to have it control you? Then you are ready to try the Strategic Success Tools offered by Tope and Ike. I would love to gift you a 30-day free trial of the Strategic Success Tools Relationship Building System. And yes, that's a mouthful. And I will help you get started by providing onboarding training. When you use it, you will quickly and easily access your customer information anywhere you are, finally be able to relax and know that you have all the information that you need, and see how easy it is to stay in touch, add leads, build deeper relationships, and grow your business. People who use it have told me that this system has changed their life, and it's priceless. So don't wait, act now. I will look forward to helping you stay connected, make more money, and have more fun. And go to the website below.
Awesome, Nancy.
And actually, that's my real estate website that's going through. The website to get the free offer is topeandike.com. And is spelled out.
Great.
Okay.
Thank
Nancy,
you
if
very
you'd be
much.
kind enough to put that in the chat, I'll copy and make the correction. Excuse me.
Oh, thank you.
So
Thank-
I remember one of the people in one of our boot camps said, we went through the 12 pieces of the framework. They're like, that can't be done in 6 minutes. But Nancy, can it be done in 6 minutes?
And even a little bit less.
Even a little bit less,
Yeah.
maybe 5. I mean, we find that many people's first script comes out to be around 5 minutes.
Mhm.
Because they're working with the real basics. And what's interesting is when you work with the framework of the 6-minute webinar, you really start to focus in, don't you, Nancy, on what the most important key part of the message is. So you get rid of all the fluff, you get rid of all the extra words, you stop trying to convince, you stop piling on information to make yourself sound important, and you give it to them straight, short, and sweet. And that's what creates credibility and trust, Don.
Yeah, and this can be used in all your different segments of your business. Like Nancy, it has a real estate firm. I mean, right? You are a sales agent for your own real estate firm. You also offer strategic success tools. There's other things you offer, training, right? So there's a number of things you do, and often we just confuse people by trying to tell them all that we do. So has this been helpful for you, Nancy?
Oh, tremendously. I love it because sometimes you get lost in the muffle of everything that you're swimming in. And having you work with me on this and doing this, it's straight, it's online, it's got one purpose, and that's to understand one little section of how you can make your life easier and a heck of a lot more fun.
Yeah, so people. In fact, when Sherry Wynn spoke earlier, her Q-tip is that's the big takeaway of today. But it was the acronym for quit taking it personally. And what people do is they get involved in conversations. They're listening, trying to think of an answer. They're coming in with stories. Emotions are playing in. There's all kinds of information that doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
All that somebody wants to know, if they're looking at an oven, there's a great old story about this older woman that her oven broke, went and looked at new oven. Finally, the fellow, do you have any questions? She said, will it burn my chocolate chip cookies? That's all she wanted to know.
I love it.
Yeah. And it's so important, isn't it, Don?
It is. And, people ask about the 6-minute webinar. Well, gosh, I've got this high level coaching program. Can I use it for that? Well, here's the thing is one thing we've discovered in our own businesses and with most people that we work with, when you already have an existing client and you kill it with them, it's really easy to get them into your next program. It's really easy to sell them the next house. It's really easy to get that next listing. It's really easy to move them to your next program. But the first one is the toughest. And that's what the 6-minute webinar is best for. A free trial, get on a strategy call, them get to know you at your introductory level, build that relationship, and you got to kill it with them. There's no getting around being great, right? There's no getting around being great. No webinar's ever going to solve that, right, Nancy? But you're great at what you do. And once you get that client, they're there with you probably for life.
There's actually something I think is more important than that, Don.
Yeah.
And that is your ability to repel people. Because we end up with time parasites spewing information, and they aren't going to take action. They are not our perfect client. And what we teach you in the 6-minute webinar is how to speak to your perfect client. That's what makes you look great, right, Don? When you can address your perfect client succinctly, they're like, how they put all that message together in such a short period of time is frankly miraculous. And that's what attracts people. That's what builds the credibility and trust. Repelling the people, saving yourself the time. That's when you can go have some fun, because you're not spending your time trying to convince people who aren't going to commit to you anyways.
And truly successful people, what do they value more, time or money?
Should be time.
It's always time.
It's always time.
You can't.
And so the
time.
unsuccessful people, the tire kickers who want to come and take all your information for free and hang out in your hour and a half long webinar and never purchase anything from you, be it like Bill says, the time parasite, those are probably not your most successful clients. The ones who are like, tell me what you do. If you can tell it to me in a few minutes, I can decide yes or no, and we can move on with our lives. So this is what the 6-minute webinar is absolutely perfect for. And I want to thank Nancy. Bill, you got another comment?
I was just going to say, time parasites like to talk. They don't like to take action.
And if I can share quickly, time is something that you spend and you can't buy back. Anything else you can repurchase.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Money. You can always go get more money. You can never go get more time. You can always get more money. You can never get more time. Well, I want to thank Nancy for being a gracious volunteer, for coming and going through her 6-minute webinar. She will be speaking later on today, so I really look forward to bringing you back to the stage in about an hour or so. So
thank you, Nancy. You did a great job. Thank you very much.
Absolutely wonderful. I've been taking notes, as you all know. I am already taking notes and tweaking my 6-minute webinar for the NGO Whisperer. I mean, I came here to learn, like I said. And if you're watching, wherever you're watching, you're not just sitting there watching, as we've had today. Time is the most precious commodity we have. It's not money. It is time. And as you are watching, scrolling on Facebook or whatever it is that you're watching, whatever media you're watching, take notes. Take notes and start applying it. I'm applying it on the NGO Whisperer. And I know we have amazing discussions and case studies, and Nancy's coming back and we're going to learn more from her. And so right now we are going to go straight into another case study with the one and only Brian. And so let me just introduce you to who Brian is. Brian Rubin. Dr. Brian Rubin is one of the most sought after thought leaders on the subject of strategy. In life, you need strategy to do everything to succeed. Without strategy, you're just moving and just doing stuff with no purpose. So today, he's going to speak about this through a case study. Dr. Brian Rubin, welcome.
Hello, Caroline. It's my pleasure to have to be here today. How are you?
I am well, thank you. We are just so honored to have you. I mean, you have advised and mentored senior executives in several organizations around the world. And today we are here and we want to learn from you. Take it away.
It is an honor. Okay, so I want to welcome all our viewers from around the world. Welcome to the Leadership and Communication Summit. And basically, I want to bring a perspective which I believe will support leaders from around the world. Although management legends Peter Drucker once said that there are only two duties of the enterprise. He said it is innovation and marketing. Now, innovation is when you find new ways of solving problems or you create new solutions, whatever they are, whatever shape those solutions take, whether they are experiences or products or services. So basically, every enterprise, every organization, whether it's a small scale organization, small business, large business, one person business, it's all about innovation and marketing. And that is where leadership and communication comes very importantly, very strong there. Because you see, innovation, all right, business is about taking responsibility for the problems in the world. one of the things that have the major thing that has driven my life and work through the years, it's my realization that the problems in the world are ours to solve. They are our responsibilities. So business is not something you get into, whether it is a non-profit organization or it's a for-profit organization, whatever it is. All right, you don't get into business basically because you are looking how to get some extra pounds or dollars in your account or how to get your life moving. The purpose of business is to help move the world forward. In other words, the purpose of say taking on a business is taking responsibility, and that's leadership. So leadership is when you intervene and the problems you find in your environment. All right, take a look at your capabilities and you intervene. That intervention is what business is about. You intervene by creating a solution. So when you create this solution, the next and very important thing is to let the world know about what you've done. You start by having a very clear picture of the people you want to reach out to, the people you want to support, you want to solve your problems. And when you've created this solution, then you've got to let them know. And that's what marketing is about. And that's where communication becomes very important. First of all, to be able to create any solution, you are going to have to need to get some stakeholders who are going to support you. And to get people to work with you, you need to be able to clearly communicate. You need to be able to let them know the problems you want to solve. I need to be able to let them know the benefits, the value they get from working with you. So then you need clarity to be able to communicate effectively to these stakeholders, whoever they are, whether they're going to be investors or they're going to be people who are going to be working with you, whatever kind of relationship that this represents for you. You need the ability to communicate effectively, and that's where what the 6 minutes webinar, that's where the solution is such an amazing one, because I've had the chance to interact with Bill about the 6 minute webinar, and I congratulated him, said this is quite incredible, because if you lack clarity about the problems you're trying to solve and about how you intend to solve the problem, you cannot communicate the solution. All right. If you lack clarity, you cannot respect other people to get a clear picture that you don't even have. All right. So if the purpose of business is innovation and marketing, I've said already, when you want to get into business, that's leadership. You're taking responsibility. All right. To take this responsibility to be able to solve problems, you need to connect with people. You need people who are going to work with you in several capacities, and you're going to have to talk to them. So that's leadership. And then you need to communicate. And now to communicate, you need clarity about the subject you want to deal with. And now you see, many times when I talk with some clients, especially those who are in large organizations, I usually get all emails and people who are complaining about several different things they want to do. And a lot of the times when people make excuses, the reason we haven't done that and that and that is because we don't have the money. And I always disagree. I say money is the least of your problem. If you understand that the purpose is to intervene, and then you need to be able to communicate effectively, that's actually where you start. I remember, um, I remember Benjamin Franklin, who once said, "Give me 26 lead soldiers, and I will rule the world." And we can imagine all of the monumental changes that Mr. Franklin brought in his time. Now, the 26 lead soldiers he was referring to didn't refer to any artillery in the world. He was referring to the 26 letters of the alphabet. The ability to communicate effectively is what many leaders, many people, many business people are struggling with. All right. Because always it's not about you, it's about the solution that you've created. And then it's about your ability to effectively transfer this image, this solution that you've created to those that should use it. And that's really something that is very serious, something that is really important. All right. You don't get that, you can get that right and fail. All right. So leaders, business people, political leaders, whatever kind of leadership, whatever category of leaders that could be. All right. The fundamental idea always is to solve problems, is to bring new ways of solving problems, is to bring new solutions. All right. The focus is always in advancing freedom for more and more people. That is an essential ingredient that is lacking. All right. When I speak with young people, when I speak with people who are with small businesses, all right, I always emphasize that look, you've got to keep your eyes on the people you want to serve. All right, you've got to rise above the desire actually to just make money for yourself. All right, the reason you want to succeed should be something that will move the world forward. There is a fundamental understanding that every leader, whatever category of leader that could be, understand that the purpose of life and the purpose of the things you venture into is not to meet your own needs. That's something very important. All right. When leaders understand that the purpose of their intervention is not to meet their needs, but to meet the needs of those they are intervening on their behalf, everything changes. Their creativity becomes unlocked, and they begin to see new ways of solving problems. All right. And also, you understand, number one, I already said, you understand that the purpose is to intervene. Intervene in solving problems in the society. That's what leadership is. Now, when you've intervened, you need to be able, you're going to have to work with people and you need to communicate with them. So these are two vital things that every leader has to realize. That the purpose of leadership, purpose of business is to help move the world forward, is to expand and extend freedom to more people. There are too many people who are suffering in the world today. There are too many people who are excluded from vital supplies in education, in finance, and you see, in technology. And those create opportunities for us to think differently on how to meet these needs and expand and extend freedom so we can have a happier world and more fulfilled human beings. And then, of course, you need to learn how to communicate effectively to get to reach out to these people. See, when you have an important solution, a solution that actually meets the needs of those you created it for, and you communicate that effectively to them, you have a market. There are no two ways about it. People are in need. People want to ease their pain. People want to solve their problems. They are looking for solutions. But people also do not want to be ripped off. People also want to get more value. All right? So by focusing on people, by focusing on moving the world forward, you become innovative. But being innovative is not enough. If you create the solutions and you are not able to capture the value back, you can continue. That means you're going to have to be able to communicate effectively to those people for whom the solution is created, and you're going to have to continue to communicate effectively to them. And that's where communication comes in. See, so communication is so vital to leadership. It is not possible to lead without being an effective, succinct, clear communicator. Okay?
You're exactly right, Dr. Brian. I tell you right now, I've got to bring Caroline on, our MC, because I know she has just been as moved about your presentation as I have. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely, absolutely. The whole idea of leadership today I've learned is to solve problems. And
Absolutely.
problems in this world, it's not about you solving the problem, it is my responsibility, it is your responsibility, it is our responsibility to solve the problems that exist. I've learned that today. I shouldn't wait on someone else. I can find a solution. And let me just share my takeaways for people who are listening. So, number one, I've learned that problems in the world are ours to solve.
Absolutely.
And the purpose of business is to solve problems. And it is upon you to step up as a leader to intervene. And you need to communicate effectively. And in doing so, you will have a market to solve, to sell your products or your services, because people are looking for someone to solve their problems. Wow,
Absolutely.
that's powerful.
Absolutely.
And Dr. Brian, thank you so much for being with us today. We really do appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, James.
Now we're bringing back a good friend of mine, a lady I know very well. Oh my goodness gracious. Ladies and gentlemen, be sure, and I'm just going to say, fasten your seatbelts, and I'm going to let Caroline introduce her.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The next case study that we are having is with Tanya Simmons, and she's going to take us through the importance of character development in leadership and in business. Tanya, Dr. Tanya, welcome.
So thank you
You
so
are
much. I
muted.
appreciate it. I appreciate that. Welcome from the UK. I've been traveling for the past 24 hours, and so bear with me. So I'm so excited to be here with you all today, and I appreciate the invite. Thank you, Vanya, the foundation, and thank you to Jim, my super good friend, and Bill and Don, and to all the creators of this platform. It's been absolutely amazing, and I've learned a lot personally as well. So let me get started in regards to, I just want to jump right in here, in regards to character development when it comes to business and leadership. Let me remind you all that you can only give what you have, or should I say, you can only give and impart who you are. So the basis of that is integrity. What you do behind the scenes matters. The decisions that you make, and not many people want to talk about this in business, but we will today. The decisions that you make, how should I put it? Big doors swing on small hinges, and what that means is the decisions that you make of everyday day to living behind the scenes will affect your business, will affect your personal relationships, will affect your life, will affect others around you. I cannot drive home the importance of making quality informed decisions, and when I say that, character development in business and leadership is a process. It doesn't just happen overnight. It is a process. And sometimes, yes, we fall and we fail. But the point is that we should get up and we should lean forward and into, and not get discouraged, because every leader, if they're honest and if they're authentic and if they're transparent, whether they're a CEO, whether they're a multimillionaire, and I've talked to plenty of them, whether they're on the forefront of business or they're just starting out in business. The bottom line is this, is that we all mess up. We all fall and fail. But the point is, and as I talk more and more about this, living authentically, living to your true self, is that you operate from the core of who you are. And what that means is you know your values, you know the core values that you want to stick to, and you don't deviate from those. If you do deviate from those, then obviously we have to regroup, we have to realign ourselves, and we have to move forward. And sometimes within this process, it's important to have a team around you of stronger people than you are in multiple areas. For instance, in my team, I've got a team of people around me that are stronger in different diverse areas than I am. I prefer it that way because I have blind spots. So when you have blind spots, everyone does. And the point is to own those blind spots, to say, you know what, this isn't my strong suit. This is an area where I might need a little more development. Then you pick your appropriate people around you so that they're aligned with you appropriately. What I mean is there's nothing worse than having the wrong person in the wrong place or position. And so when you're doing this and you're going through, you're getting your team together, you want to make sure that you have the right person in the right position or place of authority around you. And you need to be open if you're a CEO or on the forefront of leadership. You need to be open to have those people speak into your life. Be a leader where you can say, you know what, I did mess up. I did miss that. And I appreciate you telling me about that. In so many, we have the opportunity to get offended in so many ways, but the point is, don't get offended, but learn from that feedback and grow in your character development. So remember, it's always a process. I can name character after character, person after person, where it was just due diligence that they were doing behind the scenes and they were working hard. And then remember this, I want to speak this out to everyone who's listening. There is always someone watching you that is able to promote you. Remember that what you do matters, how you do it matters. The passion that you put into what you're doing matters. Your impact matters. Your voice matters as a leader. And so, not just as a leader, but as a person, as humanity, your voice matters. Within your voice, you carry authority. So remember that words are like containers. You need to know how to use them appropriately and responsibly, because they will create or they have the power to destroy. So make sure that when you speak to others, that you check yourself, you check your motive, you check your intention and your heart. Because everything comes out of the heart in leadership. And so, and also remember this: when you're serving leadership in my organization, leadership, as far as me, it's about servant leadership. So it's not about me up here and my team down here. It's more like me down here and me pushing them and encouraging them to go forward, even forward by leaps and bounds, surpassing anything that I've done. That should be your heart as a leader. And so, something in nursing, I've been on the forefront of nursing for goodness. I've been a professor of nursing. I've done all sorts of nursing. And right now, I'm currently working with post-COVID patients. And so, I want to say this is, God bless our healthcare workers and everyone out there on the forefront of this pandemic for sure. But I want to bring this home very quickly, and it's a nursing assessment that we have. It's called you evaluate, you assess, you diagnose, you plan, and you intervene. And so what that means is, let's just break this down very quickly as leaders. Evaluate, you collect your data. And so obviously when you are looking at your place or sphere of influence, I remember reading a book by John Maxwell, I believe, and it's the 360-degree leader. It doesn't mean leadership isn't a title. It's a place of authority and influence. And so you can be a leader within your organization or your place of sphere of influence that you have, whether it's entertainment industry, healthcare, whatever it is. But we each have a sphere of influence that we have. And so we need to make sure that we use that sphere of influence with responsibility, with integrity and uprightness, because what we do matters and how we do it matters. And so we need to evaluate, collect our data, look and assess, critically think about the solution to the problems that we see. And Dr. Brian, I think he took some of my my talk today. It was absolutely spot on what he said. We are created to solve problems. So make sure you know how to solve problems, excuse me. And so look for problems to solve. Your clients are looking for you to solve problems. And so the more that you can do that, you critically think, you break down, you innovate, you obviously create and think outside of the box. Obviously, you want to do that. And then diagnose. You're looking at, well, how did this affect this? Why did this not work? You're looking at those, you know how to ask the right questions. Okay. Sometimes it's not about listening to the right answers, it's about knowing how to ask the right questions in order to get those right answers you seek. Remember that. That's a golden nugget. So when you plan, you obviously want to collect your data, you're listing it out, you're planning, you're obviously wanting to implement that and execute that with excellence. And I want to talk about this, being a leader that knows how to execute, with excellence, is very, very important, because people are watching you. People are watching how you do your work. They're watching you to the level of excellence that you want to execute. And people want to follow success. They do. They want to join something that's successful. They want to be a part of something bigger than who they are, and they want to make a difference. And so we as leaders on the forefront, we need to make sure that we're doing the right thing the right way. And when we don't, we need to be open to that feedback and to learn and grow from it. It doesn't mean we're perfect. It means we're progressing together, and that's what it takes. It takes a village to execute with excellence and to be excellent at our craft and what we're doing. So I encourage everyone under the sound of my voice not to shoot for mediocrity, but to shoot for a spirit of excellence in all that they do, because that's gonna sometimes the things you do can be caught and imparted, and so just people being around you, seeing how you do things, they'll be able to do it, even hopefully better than you. So that's my goal in and character development. It's a process, and sometimes it can be very hard and painful. We all have those moments of we feel like we want to give up, or it's been trying and it's been hard. And I see very successful people, and sometimes they don't want to talk about those things, but I think those are the things that need to be talked about, because it gives hope to people, and it instills hope into them that says, yes, I can do it, you can too, I went through this, you can too. And you want to instill hope in your leadership, you want to instill hope in the people around you. And that's what's important, is to make sure that people know, what, that, you can do it. And there's hope for tomorrow. There's hope for a better day. And to help bring out the best in other people is super important. And that's called empowerment. So I want to just thank everyone listening under the sound of my voice. I love the 6-minute webinar and how it's affected my business. And I'm telling you, if you haven't had a chance to get with Don McGrath or Bill or Jim and the leadership team about the 6-minute webinar, you need to make that happen, because it will surely make a difference. It will surely make an impact, and it will bring clarity to what you're doing. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tanya Simmons. She is a global entrepreneur, international humanitarian, and empowerment speaker. And today she has empowered us. And by the way, if you do not know the definition of empowerment, it is bringing the best out of people. So every time you're bringing the best out of people, you are empowering them. Dr. Don and Bill.
Yeah, I'd love to. Something that really struck me from you, Tanya, as well as Brian's talk is, we have this idea that leadership and projects run smooth all the time, and that is the farthest thing from the truth.
Not true.
Right? And so innovation is like sausage making.
Yes.
Running projects is like sausage making, and there's going to be bad times and there's going to be good times. And I think the job of the leader is to strike that balance between pushing when pushing's needed, congratulating when congratulating is needed,
that's it,
inspiring hope. So I'd love you to share with us, kind of a tip for leaders out there who might be struggling with that, because it just can be bad sometimes.
It can. And, I've experienced that. I'm sure you have. Everyone who is wanting to create a business or do anything to make a difference is going to experience adversity. They're going to experience obstacles. They're going to experience hardship. They're going to experience all that. So my point is, embrace the adversity, run to it, not away from it. And I know that's not an easy message to swallow, but when you run to adversity, what you do is you allow the adversity to build an inner fortitude and strength on the inside of you that other ways might not happen. And so it creates a momentum and strength for the next thing that's going to come up. So you look at adversity different as a leader on the forefront. You look at it through eyes and perspective of, hey, you know what? We got this. I got this. Bring it on. You know what? And sometimes it is discouraging. Let's be honest about that. And that's why you need a good, solid team around you to say, hey, it's okay. We're going to make it. And, I can't say I have great days all the time. Sometimes it gets really hard, but thank God for the people around me that speak those words of encouragement and remind me who I am. So, and I think we all need that. And that's called humanity. It's called walking together, living life together. And that's what that's about. That's why
One of
we're
the
here.
worst leaders I ever worked for, every problem was like, how did this happen? It's like we were surprised that there's going to be adversity and challenge, right? And he made everybody feel like it was their fault. So I
Yeah.
really love what you say, run toward adversity, embrace it, look at it as an opportunity. That's a wonderful tip. Bill, do you have
Adversity. Go ahead, Dr.
Too. I'm
Tanya.
sorry, Bill. Really quickly. You need to know how to handle pressure. And sometimes people break under extreme pressure. And it's like this. Adversity builds the inner fortitude to handle the pressure that comes with forefront leadership, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bill, did you have a comment?
Well, I wanted to speak to this adversity because adversity is what creates greatness. Adversity is a necessity to change. Adversity is what caused the creation of the 6-minute webinar.
Wow.
It came out of adversity. The universe is organically always in a state of change. It's just energy moving. Well, if you're static, or you spoke about working under pressure, pressure is just extreme fear of loss of expectation. And when you understand that the definition of disappointment is when expectations meet reality, then you'll understand why there's no need for pressure. Things are going to change. Things are going to be different. Always going to change. Always. What? I don't remember. It was Dale Carnegie or one of those people that said, every problem contains a seed of opportunity equal to or greater than the problem itself. And you should, good mental health is getting past this current challenge, knowing for certain there's another one waiting. That's good mental health.
Another one. Absolutely.
There's always another one waiting.
So always, and we will not escape problems, but we need to make sure that we're using those problems. And like what you said, I love what you just said. Everything is changing. Our very inner cells are changing. Everything is changing. So tomorrow, neurogenesis. Neuroscience states that we create new neurons every day when we wake up. It's called neurogenesis. And so neuroplasticity, I could go on and on and on, break it down, but even our very bodies, everything that we see is changing, and we need to embrace that change and not be scared of it. So I appreciate what you said.
I would like to share one thing that I learned when I was in wilderness first responder training. So I'm trained as a rock climbing guide. One thing, the best thing you can do when you arrive on a scene, when you're a wilderness first responder, this creates a great image. Crack open a can of calm.
That's the truth.
Crack open, and so when there's chaos, when things are hitting the fan, when customer problems arise, as a leader, one of the most powerful things you can do is crack open the can of calm.
Yeah, that's right.
It really goes back to what somebody said yesterday about managers feel important, leaders make their people feel important. And it's the difference. It's the difference between accountability and responsibility. And teaching people to be responsible, allowing them to be responsible, allows them to shine with the resources and the wisdom that they have, and then the whole team will flourish together. When we're working from a fixed expectations, we're stuck on results. Go ahead, Dr. Tanya.
No. I don't want to rush that. I think we should just savor that, what you just said, for just a second and let it digest, because I don't think there's when you rush through things and you just kind of sputter things off and you don't let it digest and really get into you, that makes a difference. So I think we need to take what you said very seriously. But what I was going to say was congruent with that is, everyone, we need to recognize that everybody matters. Everyone is important. And that's the key. Everyone has gifts. Everyone has talents.
We each have our own unique gift to share.
That's exactly right. And when we it is our responsibility, if we're the leader, to tap into that gold mine, encourage the other person, and bring those golden nuggets forth. And that is true leadership. And then encourage the other person and push them, and hopefully encourage them. When I say push them, I mean help catapult them into their purpose, into their destiny, into their assignment, even stronger, more forward, and more how should I say, with momentum, even than what you're doing. That should be our goal, because we should create other leaders, not just followers.
Absolutely. You know, you spoke earlier about empowerment, which is my area of specialty. And when you empower someone, when you give them responsibility, you're empowering them to take charge, to be responsible. You're letting them create power. When you hold someone accountable, you're only creating victims. You can only create a victim through accountability. And we live in a world that's based on accountability, because people like to be in charge, their ego. And when you empower,
Bill, talk about that. That's
it. Well, I could go on for a long time about that. This is an area I've studied 25 years. It's accountability can only create a victim because they're all shooting to a moving target that some other person is holding. But when a leader gets everybody together and allows them to be responsible, they will together come together, not only reach the goal and hit the target, they'll blow it out of the water. They will absolutely blow it out of the water, because you're letting them be their own leader, which is what everybody truly desires. We all want to be responsible, but we live in a world that wants us to be accountable.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I absolutely agree with that. And I think when we have that mentality as leaders, and we understand that I mean, we're all growing in our leadership capabilities. We're all growing. And I don't think anyone's arrived. I mean, I'm very real. I'm very real. And some people, you either like me or don't like me. But you know, we're all growing. I'm growing. I haven't arrived. And so that's why I need Jim. That's why I need Dawn. That's why I need, you know, I need other people. And we learn from each other, you know, and hopefully grow in our own growth and development.
Thank you.
Yeah, what a wonderful question and answer, session we had. Wonderful presentation, Tanya. And we've got a young lady, I think we've seen her before earlier, by the name of Nancy. Let's see, what's her name there? My gray hair is shorting out my mind there, There she is. How are you? Is something wrong with
You're muted, Nancy.
I think she's muted.
Yeah, you got to put a quarter in that thing, Nancy.
No.
Let's see. Well,
while she's still sorting that out, let me just introduce her.
Sure, please do.
Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, we had her already here. She shared her 6-minute webinar and brought us to see what our business is all about. Just as a reminder, Nancy Gannon, she is a sales agent with Century Residential Real Estate and the owner of her own company called Top and Ag, where she specializes in training real estate sales agents on how to use tools and technology to manage contracts, to lead generation, to follow up, and all the fingertips or whatever it is that they need. Nancy has held leadership roles in several different capacities in her career, including, ladies and gentlemen, vice president of a bank. And she has managed real estate sales team. She is the president of a Rotarian International chapter. As a former Rotarian treasurer, I understand that. and board of director, member of the Loveland Housing Authority, and the owner of our own company, of course. And today she's here to share with us what she does best. She speaks on topics of sales, leadership, communication, ladies and gentlemen, and community service. Put your hands together for Nancy Gannon. Take it away, Nancy.
Nancy, I'm sorry. It looks like your audio is not working. I know it was before. No, it's not working, huh? I'll tell you what, let me put you backstage. We'll work on that. And this, I understand how frustrating that is, but that's okay. We'll get it ironed out, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be right back with Nancy. As soon as we put a quarter in her computer, she'll be good to go. And we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, after I want to share a little video with you right quick, if I can, about the coming August the 27th through the 29th, 2021, E360 TV and Messages of Inspirational Stories proudly presents Vanya Kusick Foundation Leadership and Communication Summit in association with the 6-Minute Webinar and E360 TV. Broadcasting live from E360 TV studios to Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Periscope, Twitch, YouTube Live, and Facebook Live streaming. Be sure and register at the 6minutewebinar.com/communication-summit-2021-registration. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, and we apologize. Nancy's working on that. We're going to bring her back, and let's see real quickly if we've got the problem solved. And hi, Nancy, how are you? No, it's not quite solved yet. Bless your heart. I know how that feels, but that's okay. Just take a deep breath and relax. We got plenty of time to work on it, and we'll be, we'll work with you backstage. And let me bring a young lady up here. We haven't seen her in a while. I surprised you there, didn't I, Vanya?
Absolutely, you did.
Yeah. I tell you, your foundation does a wonderful job about helping people, get clean water where they live. Because, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of places, especially in the United States, let's be honest, we're spoiled babies. We really are. I mean, if we turn on the water to get in the shower, and we've had, our family and friends over there, and they've been using the shower and all that, and there's not any hot water, we get grumpy. But I want Vanya to share with the audience what some of the ladies over there, their everyday life is like just to get drinking water. Please.
So, absolutely, Jim, you are absolutely right. So when we talk about water and its water scarcity, we are not only the people, and those are not only the people who are suffering. We all are suffering with the water scarcity, and in coming years, we will face it in urban areas as well, because water is the basic thing which we need to survive, and few people around the globe are suffering with the water scarcity. So Indian, few of the states are also suffering with that. So where our foundation, along with Prayas Ken Sansthan, working is the rural areas where lake is present, but it's completely salty, and the land water which is present there, having full of fluoride and other chemicals which can't be taken directly, but they are nature has forced them to have it, and they actually destroyed their organs and decay their teeth and bones and weak their immunity to live.
And
as they
you even made a little video on that, about 4.5
yeah
minutes. That's it, because
yeah
ladies and gentlemen, a picture's worth 1,000 words, but a video is worth 1,000 pictures. And we're going to play that a little bit later. But right now, I'm going to bring Rich Parsons on, a good friend of ours. He's going to do his presentation. We're going to work with Nancy, and then Nancy will be back with us. And we're so excited about having her with us on the show. So, Vanya, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And let me bring back our beautiful MC. I call all young ladies beautiful because they are. And I'm going to let you introduce Mr. Rich Parsons to the group.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jim. Rich Parsons, who is he? He is the owner of Higher Calling Consulting. He's a founder, publisher, and editor-in-chief at Your Success magazine. He's a mindset and business clarity and communication coach. And today we're talking about clarity, about communication. And we have the right people in the room, one of whom is right here, ready to roll. Rich Parsons, welcome.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate the wonderful introduction, and I'm truly honored to be a part of this amazing summit. And I tell you, I'm taking notes as well. There's been a lot of stuff that I've picked up from this summit that I will professionally use to share with other people. But what I'd like to do in the next little bit is to share the importance of communication and how it impacts a person's ability to lead. And there really are no two ways about it. The connection between leadership and communication are absolutely inseparable. How you communicate with someone is going to have an immediate impact on the level of influence that you have with any individual or group of people. As my mentor, John Maxwell, states many times, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And he also states that everything rises and falls on leadership. And I'd also like to add that communication is a primary determining factor on your ability to lead. And however, there's one thing that is going to have an even greater impact on your ability to lead and impact how you interact with other people, and that is how you communicate. And it's far greater than how you communicate, and that is really your ability to connect. And as I've listened to people talk this morning and yesterday, it seems that there's a common theme here, and people talk about relating to people and connecting with them and finding a way to interact with them in an effective way. Brian this morning talked about effective communication. And one of the best ways that you can effectively communicate is to connect with individuals. And connecting with someone gives you a level of influence that is going to far exceed that of simply communicating with them. We all communicate with people, be it verbal or nonverbal, but do we really connect with them? And to make a point, I'd like for you to think about a time when you were really impacted by someone's speaking or presenting. Perhaps it was during a TED Talk or a summit such as this. Now, have you thought about what it was that drew you to that person, or why it was, or what it was that they really had to say that resonated with you? Well, I can say with relative certainty that the reason for that was simple. They connected with you. You connected with them. So simply put, if you want to succeed in leading and influencing people, you have to make connecting a priority. So I want to take the next couple minutes to share with you a connection principle and a connection practice that I believe will help you not only communicate more effectively, but begin to connect with others in a way that will increase your leadership. So let's explore the art of connecting and why it's so critical to effective leadership and your level of influence. The ability to connect with others includes a couple key components: the ability to identify with people and the ability to relate to people. And when this is done right, your ability to influence greatly increases. So think back to the speech or the presentation that I had you reflect on a moment ago, the one that really impacted you. Now, did you identify and relate to the person or the story that they were sharing? The answer to that question is most likely yes. Now, speeches and presentations are not the only place that connecting is important. The ability, excuse me, I'm a little under the weather today. The ability to communicate and connect effectively is beneficial in one's professional and their personal relationships. So I encourage you to consider two things. How would being a better connector impact your career? How would being a better connector impact you as a leader? How would it impact your friendships, your working relationships, and any other interpersonal situation that you're a part of? How would it impact your next presentation? So there are many studies out there about connecting and about things that impact and have an influence on things. And the Harvard Business Review released a study that the number one criterion for advancement and promotion for professionals is an ability to communicate effectively. Now, keep in mind that part of effective communication is the ability to connect. And presidential historian Robert Dallek, I read some information from him, and one of the things that he says is that successful presidents exhibit 5 qualities that enable them to achieve things that others are unable to achieve. And I'm going to share those with you. It was vision, pragmatism, consensus building, charisma, and trustworthiness. And of those 5 qualities, if you think about it, 4 of them require effective communication and connection. So how do you begin to not only communicate, but truly connect with others so that you can increase your level of influence and thereby your ability to lead? Well, I'm going to share with you from a book called Everyone Communicates, Few Connect by John Maxwell. And he shares that one of the first and most effective ways to connect with others is to find common ground. And if you think about it, some of the messages that we've had have related to finding common ground, being focused on the other person so that you can do that. So there's a key factor to keep in mind regarding the ability to truly connect with others. And that is that it's much more difficult to connect when you're more focused on yourself than you are with those you're communicating to. So, and I'm going to look at my note here that I took earlier, and Don and Bill were talking about this, is speak to impact, not impress. When you speak to impact people, you are focused on them more than you are yourself. When you're focused on impressing, that means that it's all about your ego, all about you, and you're going to lose that connection with people because they're going to see through that, and it's going to lack the authenticity and the genuineness that they're looking for. So being what's called others focused means that you are genuinely concerned about others in a way that allows you to create a meaningful connection that is going to increase, and sometimes exponentially, your ability to influence and to lead other people. And when you relate to people on a common ground, you immediately create an opportunity to influence them. In some way, shape, or form, you're going to have the opportunity to influence or impact them. So finding common ground requires meaningful interaction, and it's often in the form of a simple conversation where you have the purpose of learning about the other person in a way that allows you to find a commonality that you can then explore further and develop a common ground connection. Now, I was sharing with my wife the other day when we were talking about this. She was asking about, well, what if you can't find common ground? And I shared with her that it's virtually impossible with a little effort and the right mindset to not find something in common with another person, especially when you make it deliberate, purposeful, and about the other individual. So creating a connection is not always going to be easy. You're likely going to face obstacles and barriers, but when you cultivate what I would call a common ground mindset, you're going to realize that connecting is a choice. It's a choice you have to make to connect with other people, to not focus on you and to focus on the other individual. So when you make a choice to find common ground with others, your ability to connect, influence, and lead is going to skyrocket. It's going to go to the next level. And this is true whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a corporate executive, in any situation. It doesn't really matter. Whether you're trying to create a sales message or perhaps your 6-minute webinar, you could craft a presentation for your department leads, or maybe just engage in a one-on-one conversation with someone. So I'd like to speak real quick on the 6-minute webinar. And I tell you, having been somebody who's gone through that, I love what Don and Bill have come up with. They have created an amazing technology that, if you think about it, it has taken the art of connection and put it to practice by creating a platform that's going to allow you to really sell your, or not sell, but create a connection with somebody, or anybody with a product or service, allows them to establish a common ground with their ideal client. Not those that are the tire kickers or the ones that you want to repel, but your ideal client, which means that there's going to be a connection with the right people. And with that comes the ability to influence, impact, and connect with them in a new way. Now, if this message has inspired you to take a deeper look at how you communicate, or more importantly, how you connect with others, I would love to have the opportunity to have a conversation with you to see how I might be able to help you cultivate a common ground mindset, connect on a deeper level, take your ability to influence and lead to the next level. And as a certified speaker, trainer, and coach with the John Maxwell team, I am well equipped and stand ready to help you communicate more effectively, connect on a new level, increase your level of influence, and lead in a way that gets the results you desire. And you can connect with me at rparsons@highercallingconsultingllc.com. I look forward to having a conversation with you and helping you take your leadership and communication to the next level. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today. Thanks to Vanya, Bill, Jim, and Don for everything that you guys are doing, and for all the speakers so far and the ones that are yet to come. Been my pleasure. Thank you very much.
My mic was muted. For those of you that can read lips, you know what I said. For those of you that can't, I'll say it again. Rich, don't go anywhere, because we're going to give Nancy just a little bit more time. She's switching computers to get a better connection. So I'm going to bring on Caroline, Dr. Don McGrath, and Mr. Bill Heinrich they got some questions they want to ask you. Rich, are you ready, brother?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, here we go.
So, Rich, as you were talking, one thing that occurred to me was, we kind of have this culture of, in the past, leadership being about positional power. Positional power has kind of been something that we've cherished as the kind of cowboy country here in the U.S. at least. But that's not how effective leadership has morphed into over the last 30 years. So I'd love for you to share your perspective on that change.
Yeah. So position, if a person relies solely on leading from position, they are missing so many opportunities, because when you are operating from positional leadership, people follow you because they have to, because you're the top dog, or you're in a position that sometimes people do it because they fear that if they don't follow you, something's going to happen. But it's not. And John Maxwell has the 5 levels of leadership that I often share about and run classes on, that when you move up that ladder and you finally get to a point where you're building relationships, you're connecting with people and relating to them in a new way, to where people finally get to a point where it's all about the relationship. When you can do that and you've connected with them, people will follow you because they want to, not because they have to. And that's like the ultimate compliment of a leader, is when people want to follow you, not because they have to. And some people say, and I think it was Colin Powell that said that when people follow you out of curiosity more than anything, you know that you've achieved something great. And I'm sure I messed that up, but it was when you're attractive enough to somebody where they want to be with you just out of curiosity to see what's going to happen and how you're going to lead them, you've done something right.
Wow, that's fantastic. Billy, I
have a question for Rich about the 6-minute webinar.
Yeah.
You've been through this technology. What surprised you the most when you worked with the 6-minute webinar?
What surprised me the most with it, and it really stuck out to me, is as an entrepreneur, it's so easy, especially starting out, and I still struggle with it from time to time, is feeling that you have to attract everybody. And you have to appeal to everybody, that everybody is your audience. And one thing that I found in going through the 6-minute webinar is that everybody's not your audience.
Yeah.
You don't want to, because if you really spent your time trying to help everybody, you are really going to truly help nobody, because you're not going to be working with the right people. And so that was the kind of the aha moment for me. And it is that it's okay for people to walk away, people to say, no, this isn't for me, or not right now, or whatever. That the ones that say, hey, like Don was saying earlier, aha, I relate to that. That's exactly what I need. And then they want to work with you. You're going to get much more out of that than you are with somebody who's just kind of, testing the waters and wanting to see if it's going to work. And they're not really doing what needs to be done.
Yeah, that's so true. Having spent a lot of my life in sales, in the old sales game, which doesn't work anymore because now you have to work on value propositions.
Sorry about that.
One of the things I always taught salespeople that worked with me is getting a no is more important than getting a yes. Because with enough no's, you're going to land a yes, but everybody isn't going to say yes, are they, Rich?
That is correct. Yeah, and that's something that it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes when you hear no and you want to hear yes so badly, and you've put the time and the effort into things, and you get a no, you're like, well, what did I do wrong? Well, it's not that you did anything wrong. It's that they weren't the right person.
And you did it right.
If the right person comes along, they're going to say yes.
You did it right, in fact, if the wrong person walks away.
Right.
Yeah.
The key, I think, is to do it at the lowest cost.
Yep.
Time and money.
Yeah.
Right? Get those no's at the lowest cost and get the yeses at the lowest cost.
And
right, exactly.
To me, the most important thing about this in the 6-minute webinar, Rich, is not speaking to everybody. Not only do you want to not speak to everybody, you only want to speak to one person. And that person is your perfect client. Exactly. And the reason you want to craft a message to them is you have something burning in your heart, don't you, Dr. Caroline, that you want to share with people. It is your essence. It is who you are. And when you get deeply connected to that message, it will resonate with far more people than you ever imagined. But when you take that message and water it down out to everybody, it ends up going nowhere. Exactly. And that's the purpose of the 6-minute webinar, is to get the core of your authenticity, what you're really here to solve. That's what everybody's talked about, authenticity and leadership. And that's what it's really about, right, Don?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, why do many other marketing techniques not work? Because you're doing something that worked for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing something that worked for somebody else and they think it's the magic key and they're going to, do step A, B, and run the Facebook ad this way. And use, but you know what? When you can get down to your authentic story, your struggle story, your success story, your credibility story, understanding the problem, your call to action, that's the magic. That's
They talked about that earlier, about how Tanya was talking about this, about change and conflict and how things you're going to run into obstacles and problems. And what happens is the obstacles and problems you run into are real. Your ability to respond to them authentically is what makes all the difference in the world.
All right. So I think we got Nancy ready to come on.
Yay.
Yay.
Wonderful.
Thanks, guys.
You're Rich.
Rich, thank you, Rich. Very good.
Take care, Rich. Thank you
Nancy.
now, sir.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
I moved rooms
Yeah.
for lighting, and I don't think I touched any buttons, but somehow technology won.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you ready for me to talk?
We are ready for you, Nancy.
We're so ready for you, Nancy. I'm going to let Caroline introduce you. And Nancy, congratulations, because I've been there with those tech issues. I know how you feel. Bless your heart. But I'm going to let you ladies take the stage.
We are just so honored to have you with a brand new computer that you have put on, at least brand new into the session today. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to remind you who Nancy is. She's been on a Q&A discussion about the 6-minute webinar, and she shared it with us. But now she's going to speak about what she's really passionate about, which is her work. She's already spoken about it, but now she's going to give us a case study. Ladies and gentlemen, for those who may not know her, Nancy is a sales agent with Century Residential Real Estate and the owner of her company, Top and Arc, where she specializes in training real estate sales agents on how to use tools and technology to manage contacts, lead generation, follow-up, contracts, all at their fingertips. Ladies and gentlemen, Nancy draws on her extensive experience when she speaks on topics of sales, leadership, communication, and community service. Nancy, we are just so honored to have you today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Carolyn. So we're going to go a little bit more and talk about teams. When you think of teams, if you're like me, you automatically think of a sports team. Is it football or soccer? And that very first part of communication depends on what country you're in. Is it a football game as in the United States, or is it a soccer game that is called football? Let's take a look at the football game. Did the winning team have good communication? And was the losing team a group of better players without good communication or just poor communication that day? A team wins or loses by the efforts of the group. Sometimes it's physical ability and sometimes it's communication. Actually, a lot of times it is communication within the team. Being in the right place at the right time and using all of the skills of everyone to win. Today, we're going to take a look up of the makeup of a team. What does a team look like in the working world that you and I spend most of our time and energy in? So I'd like you to think about and raise your hand if you believe that even if you work alone, that you are a member of a team. Raise your hand if you have staff or hire services to support the marketing of your business. And raise your hand if you want buyers to purchase your services over and over again. In other words, have repeat business without having to spend marketing dollars. We're going to challenge the belief that you work alone. We're going to think about the people and technology in our lives that help us with our business and that are part of our team. We are going to take a look at increasing your team and your success without a huge increase in cost. And we're going to increase your ability to connect with people, increase your ability to stay in touch, increase your ability to build relationships, and therefore increase your income and have more fun. A team needs good communication or it's going to struggle. Have you ever played the telephone game? That's where everybody stands in a circle and the first person whispers a statement to the next person to the right. And then the person on the right whispers to the next person on the right until it goes around the whole circle. That very last person says out loud what they heard. The very first person says what they started with. And it's never the same statement. Try it. It's actually quite fun. Everybody gets a good laugh, but the statements are so very different, you can't even believe that it started off from the very first one. Since what a person hears is not always what's being said, the big question is, how can we properly communicate to get our message out? Yet, if what they heard is not supportive of your business, will they even come to your business? We also want to guide people to take action, and if that message is garbled, they may not show up, or they just may be confused, and now we have a lost sales opportunity. When is the last time that somebody misunderstood what you were trying to say? And how long did it take to correct their misunderstanding and to be clear on what you meant? It was not a very easy thing to do and very, very uncomfortable. Let's start with a few minutes of looking at our own personal work situations. Are you a member of a team? Do you have staff? Do you depend on your cell phone as your answering service? An efficient group working together can accomplish more than working alone. And yet, how do they communicate with each other? Technology has helped us in getting more done in a shorter period of time and giving us more different ways to communicate. Are you part of the group that used to write, wait for this, handwritten notes? We're not even calling as much as we used to. We're depending on texting and emails, and we're not sure how those messages are getting interpreted. What kind of experience have you had in speaking to text on your phone? How often did Siri spell exactly what you spoke or thought you were speaking? What message did you really send? And now you're having to send correction messages. Let's take a look at a communication within our own personal work team. Do you currently play the telephone game circle to communicate? Do you believe that your team hears the same message the way you say it? How much easier would it make your life to have one place that you can make your notes that the whole team has access to? And they can also make notes to the conversations or activities with the client. How do you handle your email communication? Would it make your life different or easier to use one system to send out emails? What do you do when you want to find an email that somebody else sends to your clients and you are not copied on it? Do you ever send out emails to a group of people at one time? Would you like an easy way to know who received which emails and then who opened them or opted out of receiving them or reported it as spam? Think about how this knowledge helps you in good communication. Have you ever been to a restaurant where the food that was brought to you was not what you ordered and you shared that with the server? And the server stood there and said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, this is what you ordered." And they left. They left that meal for you to eat. Were you unhappy, but you ate it anyway and kind of steamed a little bit? Or if the server would have said, "I'm so sorry that happened. What would you prefer to have? And I will bring that meal to you. Please give us some time to make it ready, so you'll need to wait a little bit. Your friends already have their food to eat." That second dining experience made me happier, and this would be a place that I would come back to eat again and again. Now, you and I have a lifetime value of spending money in a restaurant, and we plan on eating there again and again, depending on our treatment. This is and can be repeat purchasing. There were actually 4 people at that table at that restaurant. Will that group go back very soon and most likely choose to go to another restaurant? The effect of this dining experience being handled this way cost the restaurant repeat business and future loss of income. That customer, you and me, will take our lifetime value of eating in restaurants to other places due to a poor experience and service. The hardest part of getting business to try you the very first time, it's the hardest part. And I'm going to state it one more time. The hardest part of business is getting people to try you the very first time. The easiest is to get them to come back and use your services again. We all know that service is important and is communication and teamwork. I believe that technology is becoming part of a team, especially with what it can be done to replace people. I am a self-employed real estate agent helping people buy and sell homes that they live in. I have support staff handling paperwork, answering the phone, marketing people that work both on site and virtually. To be effective, let's take a look at what we use today and how we can streamline our systems. I bet that you're not using your cell phone just to receive phone calls, that you do not check your email, that you do check your email on your cell phone, and probably you search the internet for company and directions on your phone. Is your cell phone your customer relationship management system? I've used various programs of customer management systems over the years, and I'm sharing the one that I find the easiest and most useful to use, and it costs less than hiring folks to manage the information for you. Where do you keep your information to use? Your phone? A spreadsheet? I need a place to keep names, cell phone numbers, addresses, and reports being requested as part of my lead generation system. My cell phone cannot collect or keep the information in that format. I also need to be able to email or text those folks with the information that they requested. Think about having to type in their contact information instead of the ease of them putting in the information into your customer relationship system or a strategic success tools relation system for you. And even better than that, the ability is to have their information on your phone so that when you have a few minutes and you want to reach out, you easily find your number through the program and call them or their address and stop by. You no longer need to get in your car, drive to the office to get the information that is at your fingertips and accessible on your phone. Your strategic success tools relationship building should, when you use it, quickly and easily access your customer information wherever you are. Finally, be able to relax and know that you have all the information that you need and see how easy it is to stay in touch, add leads, build deeper relationships, and grow your business. My purpose is to help you look forward in helping you stay connected, make more money, and have more fun.
I keep forgetting to unmute myself. I have trouble with audio too, Nancy. Would you be so kind as to share with the folks there at that website, when they go there, what's in it for them?
Yes, I love to offer them a gift, and that gift is 30 days of a free trial run. And we also provide onboarding assistance so that they're not doing this alone. They have some assistance and can focus on their individual needs and getting the system set up. Just for
Wow.
you.
Thank you so much. Don't go nowhere because Don and Bill and Caroline are going to be here in just a second because they want to ask you some questions. And we have a good question and answer session. But ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we delivered today a lot of great information, but with a 6-minute webinar, we've also given you a toolbox of all the tools that you will need. And Don and Bill are going to talk a little bit more about that in just a moment because I want to bring Caroline back up and I want to personally thank her for doing a fantastic job being our MC today. I've been seeing you there on social media, but let me bring Bill and Don on here for the question and answers. And I'm going to step backstage and wow, you guys are fantastic.
Thank you so much, Nancy. That was really awesome. So, success rewards a few things. Success rewards action, success rewards sequence, and success rewards systems.
Yeah.
So, I'd love your perspective on the importance of systems in communication.
It's so important. Can you imagine not having everybody on your team knowing what you're thinking at the same time? And that's a system as a brain thing. I've worked in various teams that communicated well and teams that did not communicate well. And in real estate, we have an obligation, if we're working as an agent for a client, that everyone that's an agent working with me has to know what I know, and they have to know what I know. Where do you put that information and how do you share it? The system that you choose is so important in making that work.
I would say there's so many ways to get reached out and touched these days that if it's not understood how you want to be touched, how often, and for what, then, it's just like constant junk. So yeah. Bill?
Yeah, I have a question, Nancy. I want to hear a little bit about how you felt emotionally before you had this system.
I didn't know that I didn't have it, because I've always worked with different systems, and I thought, well, for example, birthdays not part of my love language. But now with my system, I can send out email messages with videos, people singing happy birthday with a personal message. And on their birthday, it's a day that they have to be celebrated. I get so many responses back. Thank you for acknowledging my birthday. And it's one of those things now, birthdays is part of my love language.
On autopilot.
It's on autopilot. And I have to start asking for them.
I do have a question. For people who may not know what system you're talking about, what is this system?
Well, Topin Ike is the parent company, and the actual CRM, customer relationship management system, is the strategic success tools. And it's an all-in-one platform that people freak out. They want to use the whole thing at once. And that's why the 6-minute webinar is so good. It just focuses on your needs now. And then as you're ready, you add to it.
And I'll attest, it is one of the easiest customer relationship management tools you'll ever find. So if you don't want to be a clickety-clack expert and you want to focus on your real estate business, it's great. See Nancy.
Thank you. Thank you.
It does project management. It does other types of things, but that comes later, that you build into that.
Well, that's really amazing. And ladies and gentlemen, I promised earlier we're going to see a video by Vanya Kusik Foundation. It's about 4.5 minutes long. It's an eye-opener into some of the struggles that women around the world have just to get clean water. This will open your eyes. It will touch your heart. And ladies and gentlemen, as soon as this video is over, Vanya will be back with us. So please enjoy the video. We'll be back in just a few short minutes.
When we talk about pure water, we nowadays wonder where it actually available on this earth. We all are suffering from water scarcity, whether it's our body or our Mother Earth. We both are just survive for sake of life. We all know that this life cycle completely depends on basic necessities of survival, that is water. If water is pure around you, it directly shows effects in your personality. Water is one of the major reasons which hits you physically, mentally, psychologically, and every other way which you can't even imagine. Do you ever wonder why people, animals living underprivileged areas, drastic behavior variations? Because they are not only struggling with life, they are also struggling with purest forms of supply. Well, I know somewhere around we all does. That's why Mana Kaushik Foundation and Prayas Kendra Sansthan, India, working on world's biggest issue, that is water scarcity. Prayas Kendra Sansthan Director Bansi Bairwaji, born in that village where water scarcity is one of the major issues. When he got education and gained the understanding about the issue, this man decided to take action about it. I believe that in order to live a healthy life, pure form of water is very important. And without this, these people struggle with different kind of problems every day. Whenever we start a new project or new development takes place, we face a lot of struggle because it is very difficult to change the mindset of people, and it is very time consuming process. Water quality was very bad here. which caused joint pain and many other problems to us. We used to go to the nearby river and fetch water, but that water was also very salty and impure. We had to carry 2-3 mud pots of water so that we need not to go again there and fulfilled our basic needs. We used to get water from other villages by purchasing tankers because there were only 2-3 hand pumps from which we used to get some good quality water. Other than those, all hand pumps release salty and impure water. That water contains fluoride, which is very harmful substance for humans. He faced lots of trouble while convincing his own family, friends and loved ones because everybody living around him got used to of the lifestyle which has only problems. He sees people dying because of water scarcity. He saw kids at the early age has weak bones, often get ill, which has no solution other than water. Women in the villages has to walk miles and miles to fetch water. In India, especially in Rajasthan, in every 3 to 4 years, drought hit the ground, and at that time, people has no water for drinking or any other purposes for whole year. Women of those areas has to walk for miles and miles to fetch water. Nature forced them to drink water of mud. You must be wondering why they can't ask for water tanks to supply in their villages. They do, but practically for long term, it won't work for them. When drought hit the ground, it's not only affect humans, it affect all living and non-living beings. If you count our Mother Earth, a non-living being.
That is really humbling, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Let me bring Vanya here because she's a young lady behind that. My goodness gracious, that's really something. It really touches the heart. It really does.
I believe so. I hope everybody feel that pain which these people actually facing daily, every minute of their lives. So
Yeah.
they are actually suffering with the basic necessity, and that's where Vanyagoshi Foundation and Prayas Ken Sansthan working and concentrating over that thing, which actually needed to be worked on. And government and talking about other people, they are not even diverting their attention, and that's where we wanted all of you guys
Yeah.
to I just
Sure.
want you guys to get the attention here that these people needs your help, needs your attention, needs your
Yeah.
because they are suffering more than us for anything, right?
Sure.
So
Sure.
that's
Yeah.
where we
Yeah.
need the
Yeah. Your
support and
video. Yeah, your
yes.
video made that very, very clear. And please get in touch with Vanya Kusik Foundation at gmail.com. Vanya Kusik Foundation at gmail.com. And we're going to wrap up the show. We got about 3 minutes left, so I got to bring everybody back in. I got to bring in Mr. Bill Heinrich. And let's see here. We got something up there. We need to take that down. And we need to remove that and check on the box there and make it smaller. Oh my goodness gracious. We got a house full here, ladies and gentlemen. We got to send out for pizza. You know that?
Well, once again, kudos to the team, the technical team doing the puppeteering behind the stage, working through all kinds of issues, making it come. Jim,
it took a lot of coffee.
Kayla, Dr. Caroline, unbelievable.
It took a lot of coffee.
Let's
I'm
have
wired.
a shout out for everybody. I mean, truly, Jim, Donna, Mikkel, Caroline, you guys did a great job. I mean, truly, you just did it. I mean, this is so awesome. Thank you so much.
You're quite
And Don,
welcome.
thank you for the opportunity and thanks for connecting each other for this amazing event.
Well, thank you very much. As far as the team here at the TV station here, the E360 TV, Aaron Hymas, he's the president. He's there in master control. He's probably out there, truth be known, he's probably hanging on the side of a building with an antenna, trying to get the signals out there. I tease him about that. But Aaron, I know you're watching us. You're in the studio there. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you, because without you donating all of your time and your technology and everything, this would not have been a reality. Folks out there in TV land would not have seen that moving video of people who suffer needing fresh water. And I guess got to say, I got to tip my hat to you, Caroline, because you being the MC, oh my goodness gracious, you just put the icing on the cake today, young lady. We got to applaud you here. And to Donna and to Michaela back there behind the scenes, they kept me in fresh coffee. You can see my cup is shaking, so I tell you right now that I really enjoy my coffee, and thank both of you very, very much for staying in touch with me, helping me keep focused on things with all the things going on, because it's easy to get distracted. And Mr. Bill Heinrich, the author of the 7 Levels of Truth, there it is. It's on Amazon. And if you tell Bill that I referred you, he'll only charge you 20% extra. So don't tell him I referred you. But most importantly, it's a wonderful book. Also, too, ladies and gentlemen, during this presentation of the summit, you received a lot of information, but remember, we gave you the tools where you can actually put it all together. And I need to put a ticker tape up there, and I'm just going to let Mr. Don McGrath, Dr. Don McGrath. Dandy Don, tell them about that free offer.
So if you've heard at least 20 times 6-minute webinar. So if you're curious and you want to test drive it and check it out for yourself and not just listen to what we're having to say on this summit, you can go to what the ticker tape is saying, 6minutewebinar.com/free trial, one word, and check it out. You'll get a chance to drive our app, ScriptPal. And I think, if everyone is telling you the truth about their experience, it's going to change your business, change your life.
It really will. And ladies and gentlemen, we're out of time. We're a little over, but that's okay. Aaron said he wouldn't charge me anymore. That's it. Just a wonderful guy. But most importantly, thank you so much for being with us today. We shared a lot of great information. We're going to be downloading the summit. We're going to be editing it. We're going to be uploading it to our YouTube channel. And our YouTube channel is Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show on YouTube. We'll be doing that next week. But most importantly, remember to love yourself first so you can love others. And let me tell you what, next week on our show, Donna, I want you got your mic unmuted. I don't have my glasses on. I'm not acting my age, but we're going to be putting on an entire week of living by love. Go ahead, please.
Live in love by leaving fear behind.
Mm-hmm.
And
one of our guests is going to go ahead.
Well, one of our guests is none other than Mr. Bill Heinrich, right? We are so excited to have him on the show and to talk about this. And, Bill and I both are really into living in that love space and leaving that fear space behind, because it holds you back in everything you do.
It really does. And the important thing about that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be going live at Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. I realize over in India and places like that, you'll be sleeping, but we will download it, edit it, and upload it to our YouTube channel. The Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show on YouTube. But most importantly, please remember that we've got so much of the negative stuff on us right now. People are worried. People are scared. People are, their emotions are out of control. You can choose not to live like that. You can live in peace, harmony, in the middle of love, and have the abundance of life that is rightfully yours. No one can rob you of that.
And, let's make this a global impact. So come join us next week and let's learn together.
Absolutely. Most important, thank you again for being with us. Bless each and every one of you. May you and your loved ones be blessed in all areas of your life. On behalf of everyone here, I'm Jim Grant. We're out of time, and we hope you've enjoyed the summit. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same station, and we look forward to having you. Thank you now. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.